is driving this. The parliament bipartisan support for all the extensions they've had to the martial law. So they are acting democratically, in my judgment, in abiding by their constitution, and also the parliament is supporting it, which represents the people throughout the country. These are democratic actions taking place in a democratic country. I don't believe we should try and push elections on Zelensky during the middle of this war. I think if there is a peace agreement, I think Zelensky and others and the people themselves will demand an election, and it would likely take place assuming the peace agreement has some real legs to it.
There you have it. Now, look, I don't have a problem if it's the position of our administration to cut back on support for Ukraine, which I oppose, by the way, then so be it. Elections have consequences. So be it. But I want to make sure the facts are on the table and you, the American people, draw your own conclusion. MAGA doesn't support Putin either. MAGA doesn't support Iran getting nuclear weapons either. People claim to be speaking for you, who are not speaking for you, who are in media, who are in other positions and so forth. And if you know the full extent of their views, and if you know the actual situation with regard to Zelensky ordered martial law. That's what the Constitution there compelled. Zelensky hasn't called for an election. That's what the Constitution there compels. Now I'm waiting for the first free election for Vladimir Putin. I mean, this is almost comical in a sick way that Putin is demanding an election. Why is he demanding an election in Ukraine when he doesn't have free and real elections in his own country? And why does he get to call the shots when, in fact, he murders people who dare to challenge him? All the famous suicide jumpers. But worse than that, he throws them in prison, gives them 19-year sentences, they get sick. He sends hitmen, assassins into London, into Germany to kill anybody who opposes him. There's not a single independent media outlet left in the whole of Russia. He shuts them down. He kills journalists too. This is what we're dealing with. Again, old KGB, and not just KGB. He was in, like Flynn, with the Stasi in East Germany. So I don't know why there are people that not only oppose Zelensky, but seem to support Putin. It's bizarre. But that's not me. That's not you. That's not the men and women who have fought our wars, who fought in World War II or Vietnam or Korea, who fought in Iraq and fought in Afghanistan. This isn't them.
Thank you for the follow.
These are a handful of pseudo-intellectuals funded by the likes of George Soros and Charles Koch. They're not alone. Others too. Adopting policies that in many ways are un-American, in my view, and policies that if they had espoused these policies not that long ago, people would have wondered if they're on the take or who they're working for, something like that. Not that they are, but they would wonder. And so Zelensky's latest poll, he's at 57%. The parliament, with all parties in the parliament, support what he's doing. They're trying to survive. Ukraine did not invade Russia. Russia invaded Ukraine. Russia invaded Ukraine and took Crimea and is now completely incorporated it into Russia. Before that, Russia invaded the country of Georgia, which had been a captive state, and basically took half of Georgia. And before Putin invaded Ukraine, he wrote about it, or somebody wrote for him, and he made this pronouncement. We've talked about it here at great length. I've read from it to you as it was interpreted in English, about how Ukraine was always Russian, which is simply not true. And he went even further, that where there are Russian-speaking peoples, it's Russian. That's what Hitler said. Where there are German-speaking people, it's German. And of course, they go beyond it. But his eyes are set on Moldavia. His eyes are set on Poland. His eyes are set on Romania. How do we know it? Because either he or his surrogates have
Tylenol, the great one, is right.
said so. This is a bad guy. It's a bad guy who helped Assad kill 500,000 Syrians, slaughtered them, gassing them, mowing them down. There was a revolution in Syria, as you well know, pushed Assad out, which meant Russia no longer had a puppet state there. And let's talk about money. If Ukraine doesn't know where half the money went, that is outrageous. I think Zelensky said it. That is unacceptable. And we shouldn't be schmoes about this. We shouldn't just write checks left and right like Biden did. That's stupid. That's stupid. I don't know if it's cost us $350 billion. If it's cost us $1 billion and you don't know where half of it went, that's bad enough. We spend money here, trillions, we don't even know where it is. 4.7 trillion we can't track. And we're not even in the middle of a civil war. But that's unacceptable too. No excuses. But I want to add another fact. After World War II, and even up to today, your grandparents, your parents, and you have spent trillions of dollars to build a military to protect us from, among others, but specifically the old Soviet Union and Russia.
True.
We've spent trillions of dollars on hard.
True. And we've expended thousands of American lives in proxy wars against Russia. The old Soviet Union and Russia. American Patriot Trump wants minerals from Ukraine forever with no end date. Yeah, I haven't read about that. I saw this as a #1 headline though right now, American Patriot. I haven't read about it. That's crazy. That's a big ask. Did you see Elon at COAX today? That guy is hilarious. CPAC. No, I didn't. I'll have to do you have a link for it, Goku Gains? I worked all day. I got a job, man. Oh, nice. Cool. Thank you. All right, here. Let me see this. Let me see what's going on in this deal, and then I'll watch that. The Trump admin is stepping up its push for Ukrainian President Zelensky to hand mineral rights worth hundreds of billions of dollars to the U.S. after Zelensky's initial rejection of the demand fueled Trump's escalating broadsides against Ukraine's leader. The White House called Zelensky's refusal to sign a deal it proposed and his criticism of Trump unacceptable a day after Zelensky said Trump is living in a disinformation bubble, and Trump countered by calling Zelensky a dictator. They need to tone it down and take a hard look and sign that deal, Trump's national security advisor said Thursday. Zelensky has said he is open to a deal, but that it needs more work. The U.S. demands were first presented by Besant in Kyiv last week. A U.S. Republican lawmaker who met with Zelensky on the sidelines of the Munich Security Conference last week described the Ukrainian leader's account of the interaction with Besant. Besant pushed the paper across the table, demanding that Zelensky sign it, the Ukrainian president told the lawmaker. Zelensky took a quick look and said he would discuss it with his team. Besant then pushed the paper closer to Zelensky. You really need to sign this, the Treasury Secretary said. Zelensky said he was told people back in Washington would be very upset if he didn't. The Ukrainian leader said he took the document but didn't commit to signing. The Treasury Department didn't respond to a request for comment. A spokesman for Zelensky didn't respond for a request for comment. An aide to the Ukrainian president confirmed Besson had pressed for a signature. The aide said Zelensky was surprised to be presented with a document to sign. Zelensky was surprised to be presented with a document to sign without deliberations with his team and expected multi-billion-dollar deal to be signed at a meeting with Trump. Zelensky has described the initial proposal by the Trump administration as a demand for a share of Ukraine's natural resources with no security guarantees, Ukraine's main request in return. That's not a serious conversation, Zelensky said Wednesday. I can't sell our state. Walt said the proposed deal was an economic partnership and a historic opportunity to have the USA co-invest with Ukraine, invest in its economy, invest in its natural resources. Ukraine says it has Europe's largest reserves of titanium, which is used to make alloys for aircraft and naval vessels, and lithium. Lithium, titanium, zirconium, rare earths. Russian forces, Ukrainian forces. Ukraine also has deposits of rare earths essential in high-tech industries. While potentially plentiful, the reserves would require massive investment to develop even in peacetime, and many are located in areas occupied by Russia. Zelensky on Wednesday told reporters the deal shown to him by Besson had been unclear, apart from demanding 50% of a list of Ukrainian natural resources. The Ukrainian leader said he rejected that document, but was ready to discuss a deal that included U.S. security guarantees. Zelensky said he was grateful for U.S. aid to Ukraine, which he put at around $100 billion in military and financial, but he said Trump's demand for $500 billion worth of minerals in return was excessive. Still, he has said he was open to working on the proposal. It's like the fourth time the article said that. Ukraine is ready for a strong, effective investment and security agreement with the President of the United States. Wow, man. All right, well, that's pretty crazy, dude. That's pretty wild.
Why don't we bring him out? Yeah. Thank you, sir. All of you guys, too. Thanks, guys. Have a seat.
Dude, why is Elon Musk dressed like that and wearing that stuff? He looks like a clown. What the hell is he doing?
So, that was something. I am become meme. Yeah, pretty much. I'm living the meme. It's like there's living the dream and there's living the meme, and it's pretty much what's happening, you know. You're like, I think you're bigger. I mean, Doge started out as a meme. Think about it. And now it's real. Isn't that crazy? It is crazy. But it's cool. Let me ask you this.
Why is Elon is acting like he's like drunk or high or something? Like Elon is like in a completely different mood and completely different demeanor than usual. Guess is in the house. What up, Guess? You were right about the blame on Obama for this war. Ukraine did not follow the Minsk agreements in 2015. They failed to live up to most of the 13 agreements they agreed to. Well, there you go, Guess. And it's like Obama should have had them live up to it. There you go. Elon Musk is mad because Community Notes is debunking his lies. Good, American Patriot. Good. Russia is the aggressor of the war, though. 100%. American Patriot, were you not here? American Patriot, I just listened to like 11 minutes of Mark Levin attack the Putinoids. American Patriots, did you miss that? Did you miss this? Because we just did 11 minutes of Mark Levin going in hard on the Putinoids and criticizing anybody that, and also Putin says Zelensky's latest poll is at 57%. And Mark Levin says everything Zelensky's been doing has been approved by the parliament in a democratic fashion and also is compelled by the Constitution, including martial law and suspending elections is compelled by their Constitution. He gave him a custom-made Doge chainsaw. That's awesome. That's freaking awesome.
A year ago, if someone had told you you'd be at CPAC and working with the president to absolutely shred the government, the swamp, whatever you want to call it, would you have ever believed that?
No.
No. Me neither.
But it's cool. This is awesome. And I just want to say, thanks for your support. I mean, you guys are, So, I mean, we're trying to get good things done, but also have a good time doing it, and and have like a sense of humor, So, I mean, the left wanted to make comedy illegal, Like you can't make fun of anything. So there was like, comedy sucks. It's like nothing's funny. You can't make fun of anything.
True.
It's like, legalize comedy. Yeah. Legalize comedy.
And we've shifted the entire culture. And just
Guy is completely acting like he's drunk or something. What is going on here?
the last few months, the whole culture of this country has shifted.
Jay Brown, what's up, Jay Brown? U.S. conference with Little Z got canceled because he was too whacked out on coke, Xanax, and scotch. Check out the video of him. He's blasted out of his mind. I've seen the videos of him. It's hard for me to tell. I don't find it very convincing. Like, you see the videos of him, and it's like, look, it's like he's obviously on cocaine. It's like, bro, I've done cocaine. It's like, no, it's not that easy to tell. Oh, sorry, did I just say that? Whoops. Never. Forget. Cancel that. Cancel that. I did not. No, I was joking, guys. I was joking.
Dramatically, just because of that election.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Freedom of speech, having fun again. It seems like we should have a good time.
I mean, it's a great time. Everybody in this place is so excited, and when you talk to conservatives, everybody's happy.
Yeah.
And everybody feels this great sense of relief because we were going to hell for about 4 years. It really felt bad.
Yeah.
Especially toward the end, it felt really bad.
Oh, it was horrible.
I thought we were sort of heading for a point of no return, really. Until that's why it was so essential that President Trump win the election, and that there be a Republican majority in the House and Senate, which, thanks to you, that has been accomplished.
Yeah. I want to ask you, one of the biggest questions I have for you is, you've been, politically, you weren't really on one side or the other for a long time. You're a businessman. A lot of people, they stay away from it. Now you're on a side, and you've chosen a side. You're sitting here in a MAGA hat. What's it, how did that happen? What was the moment?
It's like, dark Gothic MAGA.
That's a good one. What was there a specific moment? Was there a moment that it all changed?
Yeah, when I realized I was a fool. But no, I was, I guess, yeah, I mean, I'd say I was politically neutral for quite a while. Leaning a little Democrat.
How do you go from that to this?
Yeah,
How does that happen?
Well,
did they go crazy?
He's he's acting like a political rock star. Yeah, he really is, isn't he? Holy cow. It's like, whoa, this guy's like, I haven't seen Elon like this in a long time.
Crazy.
Yeah, they went crazy.
No, I mean, that whole cancel culture and it's trying to
Jay Brown. Jay Brown, are you trying to tell me that you've done a little cocaine in your day, you've done a little Xanax, you've done a little scotch, all at the same time? Come on, bro. Come on.
And infringe upon people's personal freedoms. They just want.
No, I believe you, Jay Brown. I totally believe you. Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Control.
Not something you wanna play around with, frankly. You can go to prison for that.
State control of what you say. They want to, take away your guns. And the reason they want to take away your guns, so there's nothing you do to oppose them. So it's sort of like, I just like we just need to restore the fundamental elements of what made America great, which is freedom and opportunity.
Right, guess. Right.
We're seeing a lot of these freedoms disappearing in the West. It's not just about America. We're all watching Europe and knowing that.
Nice, Dark Lord Hydra. Yeah, everybody's watching that. Is that going on right now? That's awesome, Hydra. S Rule, what's up?
They're about 50, 100 years ahead of us, right? Because They got an early start. And we're watching how they're devolving. And you're trying to save it from happening here.
No, I mean, in Europe, they put people in prison for memes.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, that's insane.
And they're collapsing. I mean, this society it's a collapsing society. It feels that way.
It feels like,
France was nicer 50 years ago than it is today.
yeah,
I don't think you can question that.
yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, really, thanks. I love you too.
They do well.
I mean, I really just wanted to do useful things, like, you know, basically build products, you know, provide products and services that,
Chad.
that are good.
Nice, Chad.
And,
That's awesome.
I wasn't really like that interested in being political. It just like
Nice,
at some
Hydra.
point, no choice.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, can I ask you on the same side of that coin, what's it like from going neutral to being vilified, largely vilified
I
by
am?
the media? Like
What? No. Really?
I mean, you turn on some of these channels, brother. I mean, they're angry at you. Does it bother you at all? Does it get to you?
I mean, when they're chanting for my death, I suppose that's a little, you know.
Not good.
But then, like, the song's not even that good, and it's like you call that a death chant? That's nothing. Please.
They've been singing a lot
not
lately.
even good music.
There's a lot of music lately. It's not good music either. Yeah.
Yes.
I would say that watching what you're doing with Doge is just people love it. I mean, I've always looked at the government, and I've always looked at the government. And I've seen this big machine and you just know that they waste because they don't care. There's more money coming. They don't care.
Yeah.
You're cutting all this out. Everybody in this country knows that the government is full of waste, fraud, and abuse. And you're doing the work, and the Americans love it. Watching their reaction politically to this, I can't believe how bad they are at responding to this. I don't know how you're going to sit there and scream and complain because they're cutting waste out of the government and try to win another election. How do you try to win on that?
Well, at this point, I'm not sure how much of the left is even real.
Yeah.
You know.
How much was propped up by our money? You know.
Yeah. Like literally, you know, you see like these sort of fake rallies where there's like hardly any people, and the media will like frame it and like, you know, get all 6 people, you know, in the frame, but there's like nobody else is there. Like just it doesn't have popular support. But then you learn that like there's hundreds of billions of dollars going to these so-called NGOs. And it's your tax dollars that are funding things that are fundamentally anti-American.
And they're propping up their narrative.
Yes.
A lot of that government money has been propping up a left that I don't think is as strong as they made it seem.
In fact, a massive amount of your tax dollars is going to legacy media companies.
Yes.
Directly from the government.
The government wants to take over media.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah. That's why we have X.
Yeah, and that's
why you spent $44 billion. I mean, that's a lot of money.
I mean,
more than it was probably worth. But there was a message.
Freedom is priceless.
Priceless. Yeah. Probably one of the most important investments this country's ever seen. If you got to protect the First Amendment, it's not much more important than that.
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of criticism, and people said, well, that proves he's a huge idiot from you know, like, look, you know, he voted for whatever, $44 billion, and now it's worth like 8 cents. And
it's not worth 8 cents.
But you know, there's that.
Is Destiny, did Destiny hire a lawyer, and is he actually defending that lawsuit that he got?
But it was essentially to you know, buy freedom of expression, and
once that's gone, it's all over. It's all over.
Yeah,
descent into tyranny is really quick after that.
Yeah.
Yes, Hydra. Yes, Hydra. They literally said that insulting a politician is a crime. Yes, watch this. There's like a 1-minute clip, Hydra, that's just, yeah, here it is. Here, absolute insanity. This is closer to Nazism than the Nazis they're trying to suppress. What in the world? Yes, this is real. It's literally a crime to retweet something. You just retweet something that's funny. Yeah, it's a crime. You're going to jail, bro. You're going to jail. sitting there literally laughing at taking people's entire life. Taking their entire life because they insulted somebody, and it's a crime to insult somebody. Absolute insanity. These people are Nazis. This is authoritarianism. And yeah, S-Rule. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I know, S-Rule. You consider yourself a moderate, more left-leaning. No, it's like that's what you have to ultimately defend, S-Rule, is that kind of insanity. And yes, that is real. That's what leftism leads to. That's what, if you're not a hard conservative and you don't stand on principle and values and traditional morals, that's where you end up. They laugh about that, dude. They're evil people. Exactly, Num. That's when they laughed about that. And then it's like, yeah, they literally laugh about taking people's phones. Do you know how horrible that is to take somebody's phone from them? That's evil. And to take somebody's phone from them simply because they retweeted an insult to somebody. That's as bad as Nazism and communism in my mind. That's evil. Absolute evil.
I mean, like, you know, it's all the sort of federal money going to media companies is what helps explain why the legacy media all says the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, isn't it like, it's like weird. Like you put them up where it's like, you know, like when
They're mouthpieces for.
Rush Limbaugh proved that, by the way. Rush Limbaugh proved that. He was the one that would do those montages, and it would prove that the media had talking points.
For the state.
For the state.
Yes.
And that's what we've come to know.
Yeah,
it's scary.
And I like that meme where they're because they're always saying like threat to our democracy, that threat to, but if you just replace
right, Hydra.
It makes a lot of sense.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Big threat to the bureaucracy.
That's exactly right. Let's talk about these Doge dividend checks that everybody's talking about this week. And I know you tweeted out that you're gonna. Does everybody want like a $5,000 check in the mail? It sounds kind of good, right? And the best part about it would be knowing where it came from. That's $5,000 that you sent them last year.
Totally. It's money.
That's what I was wondering, Chad guy. That's what I was wondering. It's like, dude, I would get arrested. I would go to jail if I went to Germany because, like, I insult people. I'm not proud of it. You know, I regret it. I apologize a lot of times, but like, I insult people. So like, I'd go to jail probably if I ever went to Germany. So I guess I can never go to Germany now.
Taken away from things that are destructive to the country. And from organizations that hate you to you. That's awesome.
Chad guy.
Does it seem, I mean, have you talked?
I mean, that's glorious. That's like the spoils of battle, you know?
I like that. Is there
just go over there, Chad guy, and go up to people and be like, you're fat. You're ugly. And just go up and just start saying, like, you're ugly to people and see, like, if you get arrested. Oh, man. But you can only say it like once. You can't like follow them around. You can't like say it multiple times to them because then it would be like not just insulting, then it would be considered potentially like harassment. So you would really have to just like do a single insult and then like sort of either walk away or just sort of sit there and be done. Then really test it to see like, are they truly going to arrest you just for like calling somebody fat and ugly? Go and then but you could do it to like multiple times to multiple people as long as you didn't like, you know, harass anybody individually. You can insult me, daddy. Ready. Man, Germany's straight up fascist. Germany has turned into a fascist state, history repeating itself, I guess. Exactly, Goku Gaines. Isn't that crazy? They're still fascist there in Germany. Wow.
Traction on that?
Yeah. So I talked to the president, and he's supportive of that. And so it sounds like, you know, that's something we're going to do.
Yep.
So as we're finding savings, that's going to translate directly to reductions in tax. So.
Yeah. I think they fired 6,000 people at the IRS today.
Yeah.
And I think Lutnick said last night that they're talking about shutting down the IRS. And I think it's fair. I think people should realize this is, I mean.
No, I didn't know that, Chad guy. Good.
the amount of money that we send Washington like 5 or 6
Oh yeah, Hydra. That actually is dangerous, Hydra. That actually would be extremely dangerous.
trillion. That is such an ungodly amount of money. I mean, what do they? They say like 1 trillion seconds is like 30 years or something like that. I mean, that's how much we send them, and they seem to never have enough. There must be a lot you can cut.
No, absolutely. People ask me, what's the most surprising thing that you've encountered when you go to DC, when you're in DC? And I said, well, the most surprising thing is the scale of the expenditures, and actually how easy it is to, when you add caring and competence where it was absent before, you can actually save billions of dollars, sometimes in an hour.
Yeah,
like it's wild.
That's insane, man. That's insane.
They're talking about it. You can see they don't care. It's.
Are you serious? Are you serious? Google remove Pride Month. Is that seriously? Is that in the news? No. Wow, it is February 10th. Wow, this is like a week ago too. Black History Month and Pride Month are now gone. Google Calendar no longer marks the history of Black History Month, Women's History Month, or Pride Month on its platform. A Google spokesperson said the changes were made in mid-24 as part of a shift only displaying public holidays and national observances. Wow, so Google claims it was a decision they did in mid-2024, but it actually happened after Trump won. That's hilarious. Is Apple still doing it? This is Newsweek. Newsweek says Google removed Pride Month and Black History Month and Holocaust Remembrance Day from Google Calendar. The company called its previous calendar process unsustainable. Google Calendar will now show only public holidays and national observances. Move comes amid a broader cultural and political debate about DEI. President Trump signed an executive order to dismantle federal DEI programs upon his return to office on January 20th. And ordered what he called the ending radical and wasteful government DEI programs and preferencing. Since the order, multiple high-profile companies, including Meta, McDonald's, Walmart, Target, and Google, have stepped back from DEI goals. Amazing, man. This is wonderful news. I'm so happy about that. That's just great news, man. Finally, some good news. Isn't that wonderful?
Such little money compared to how much they're used to wasting. That's what's really scary.
Yeah, no, I mean, exactly. But obviously, it just shows that they really lack empathy for the average taxpayer who's working hard, paying taxes, and then they say, oh, $1 million doesn't matter. I'm like, I think it matters a lot, people, Yeah. So what are you talking about?
I'd like to have it. Let me ask you a question. I know the president fairly well, watched him survive 2 assassination attempts. Had the first one not happened, the second one would have gotten him. It was very, because without those extra guys, they would have never seen that gun poking through the fence at the golf course. I saw the crew that you
Isn't it like mind-blowing that this has happened? I mean, it just, and what, by the way, why do we still know nothing about that guy in Butler? What's going on? But Cash is going to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, there you go.
By the way, yeah.
Confirmed just a couple hours ago, but I
Good, Chad guy. Great news all around.
saw that the security detail that you had come in is enormous.
Well, it's not that enormous. Maybe it should be bigger. I don't know.
I think you could probably afford it. But I mean, how concerned are you about your safety? I mean, you are a wanted man. Are you nervous?
So, look, I'm open to ideas for improving security. I have to tell you. I don't actually have a death wish, I think. But it's not that easy. Yeah. I mean, but I have I've had even people President Bukele from El Salvador, who managed to put in prison like I don't know 100,000 like murderous thugs, and he was like, he told me, he's like, I'm worried about your security. I'm like, you're worried about my security? I'm like, what? Okay, that's
I mean, yeah, talk about guts to do that down there. I mean,
yeah, totally.
and survive.
Like, I'm like, I was like, how did you put all those thugs in prison without dying? Because it seems like that would have been not easy,
Well, there's the president
Without dying.
One of his top attorneys is now investigating, I guess, Chuck Schumer for threats against SCOTUS, congressman on the Democrat side. For saying,
Dude, that's insane. That's insane that we literally live in a world. We live in a world where genuinely you're going to get murdered or killed if you do certain things. And Elon Musk would be killed and murdered if he didn't have a massive security detail. And President Bukele would be murdered if he didn't have security and do everything right. You know, like that's the world we live in. Isn't that just crazy? Like, we live in a violent world. I don't think people really stop and think about that very much, do they?
basically saying we're going to bring a war to you, like a fight to you. I mean, the rhetoric, you guys are screwing with things that are not supposed to be messed with. And
we're fighting the
there's
Matrix
a lot
big
of
time.
people that really don't want that to happen.
Hell yeah, Hydra. That's awesome, Hydra.
Yeah.
But that's got to be done.
Yeah.
And
Are
gotta
you?
be done.
It certainly does.
I wonder if what's your upload speed? Starlink upload speeds typically range 5 to 20. Some users experience over 100. You could stream on 20. You can't stream on 5. So that would be questionable for streaming.
What's going on with? Tell us about Fort Knox.
Yeah.
There's Kentucky. It's a military base. It's a ton of gold, tons and tons and tons
Like
of gold.
5,000 tons of gold or
5,000
give or
tons
take,
of gold
you know?
are there in the ground and like this. I mean, it's a very secure
I think
thing.
we all want to see it. You know?
I'd love to see it.
Like, this is your gold, by the way. It's the public's gold.
Do you think it's not there?
I don't know. But I think
You just want to see it.
Yeah, we want to go see it and just make sure, like, somebody did spray paint some lead or something, you know?
Yeah.
Like, is this real gold? Fight at the bar, you know?
Didn't dent.
But I think, honestly, part of this also is just like, let's have some fun and like I said, all this gold at Fort Knox, it's the public's gold. It's your gold. So, like, I think you have like a right to see it.
You want to take a tour?
You know, yeah. I think we should have do a tour. And then the president last night was like, I think he's in favor of it. That would be cool. And then it should be like a live tour. Like, you can see what's going on. Open the door. Like, what's behind it.
Well, and there's,
I think I'd watch that.
Oh, are you kidding?
Yeah.
I mean, what is 5,000 tons of gold look
totally.
like?
What does
How
it look
big is
like?
that? Is it the size of this?
It's got to be pretty
stage? I
big,
mean,
you know.
It's got to be a lot of
But
gold.
there's some other stuff in there. Like, just walk around. Like, I don't know. Maybe they got some other stuff in there.
Are you thinking about auditing the Federal Reserve as well, which is obviously
Yeah, sure.
regulates
While
our
we're at it.
economy?
Yeah, sure. While we're at it.
I imagine you think the waste has got to be everywhere.
Yeah, no, waste is pretty much.
Yo, Hydra, just did a test 92 down with 9 up right now, but I've gotten using internet to watch it and stream on here now. Oh, nice, Hydra. Yeah, 92 down and 9 up. That's great. That's great. I have fiber optic. Yeah, Chad, I'm trying to get fiber optic. Did you buy some of the stock? Yeah, Esrel, I own a bunch of PLTR right now. And I guess I'm probably going to own it for a long time.
Hi, I'm Mike Vinton, a representative from House District 40, Lockwood, Shepherd, Huntley area. And I'm here today to introduce you to House Bill 206. It is a constituent bill which mitigates job site liability and tries to prevent job site harassment. It has to deal with electrical contractors licensure, where an electrical contractor has to provide their license to anybody that asks. We're trying to limit the people that are able to come onto a job site. They should have a reason to be on the job site to ask for that license. At the same time, we're going to enhance safety by including more inspectors and encouraging more inspectors to ask for that licensure. So bottom line is, it's a good bill that we've worked with organized labor on, put an amendment on there so that any electrician working with another electrician on the job site can ask for that as well. And again, we just want to prevent any liability issues on the job site, but enhance safety at the same time.
Yeah, so I mean, I probably will stay invested in Palantir for a long time, but I'm still like super nervous about it dropping substantially. I have to be honest. Upstart. Upstart is the leading AI lending marketplace, partnering with banks to expand access to affordable credit. Sweet.
Much everywhere. People ask, like, how can you find waste in DC? I'm like, look, it's like being in a room, and this target, the wall, the roofs, and the floor are all targets. So it's like, you're going to close your eyes.
I did see that, Hydra. 8% a year for the next 5 years, about 40% over the next 5 years. Yeah, that's insane, Hydra. That's massive cuts, right? The entire market is down, though. Is it? In the last, yeah. Wednesday, 6,100. Well, let's see. When did Palantir tank? Let's go to the 5-day. Okay, so let's see. Palantir tanked on Wednesday, starting at about 245 on Wednesday. The S&P 500 started tanking at 345 on Wednesday. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder why Palantir tanked. I wonder why Palantir tanked like an hour before the S&P 500, or maybe that's just maybe there's like an hour lag in between when the stocks tank versus when the index shows a tank. I don't know. That's weird. But yeah, you're right. You're right. No, I'm like, I guess I shouldn't be too worried about Palantir being off because it really is the entire market right now. I'm a bit wary of Palantir since they thrive on news hype and a cult-like following, but their government contracts and AI push could give them real staying power, kind of like how Tesla turned its hype into stock dominance. Yeah, Esrul, I'm super skeptical of Palantir as a company. I'm super skeptical of it, but it is they've got like almost 4,000 employees and they do make a lot of money, but their revenues absolutely do not justify their thing. And like, nobody can really tell you what they do, but they claim to like, they're going to be the next like company that like everybody, every company and every government is going to need to hire them eventually. Like they've got all sorts of theories out there about it, but I'm skeptical of it. But at the same time, like I did invest in it. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I've been invested in Palantir for 8 months, back when it was 24 share. Nice, Goku Gaines. Good for you, man. Good for you.
As to go shoot in any direction, you can't miss, you know. So it's pretty wild. Like you just push on things a little bit, and you save billions of dollars. Like just a little bit, you know. Wild.
It's scary, isn't it?
That's why I say it really is underrated. If you add caring and competence, how much things improve.
Yeah.
And you know, and we just find so many totally crazy things, which, you know, we're sharing with the public. We post everything we learn. You know, just you know.
Yeah.
So you can see it. You know.
What do you?
And like, it's like, isn't it like it's totally wild? Like we just did like a check the database on Social Security. Like it says how many alive Americans eligible for Social Security are there? And according to the database, it's over 400 million. And we're like, Wait a second.
And how many are getting?
How old are they again?
Yeah.
And then like we found like one person in there is like 360 years old. I'm like, what, do they know Ben
More than 100
Franklin
years
or
before the
something? I
revolution.
mean,
Yeah.
you know, America didn't exist before at that time. Like, so
Yeah, we were colonies.
you know, maybe it's just me, but I think it's a red flag. I don't know.
But are there indications that that there were checks going to those people or any of those people?
Well, yeah.
That's, I guess, the question, right? I mean, I get the Social Security Administration is dumb, but are they paying these people? Are they that dumb? I don't know.
A bunch of money is going out from the Social Security Administration, and in fact, from all entitlements programs.
$72 billion in waste in like 7 years. It's $10 billion a year.
Well, I think the
Fraudulent payments.
the rough estimate from Government Accountability Office is over $500 billion of fraud a year. 500 billion.
And how long at a time?
Per year.
Per year on Social Security?
No, on all
on all government.
On all entitlements.
All entitlements.
All entitlements. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's still an insane number.
It makes sense when you look at the thing from a top level and say, like, okay, the $7 trillion was spending by the government. What percentage do you think is fraudulent? Okay, exactly. Like a conservative estimate of the $7 trillion would be 10%. Conservative.
Probably a little higher than that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Feels like a quarter out of every dollar, right?
But if the fraud's only 10% of $7 trillion, you've got $700 billion of fraud.
Yeah.
That's an insane amount.
And by the way, it's like really easy to take advantage of the federal government. Very easy. So,
very easy. Look at COVID.
Yes.
Everybody got rich during COVID. I mean, look at all these scammers. I mean, it's unbelievable.
That's kind of funny to hear Elon Musk say it's very easy to take advantage of the federal government when a lot of his companies have gotten massive contracts from the federal government.
It looks like, in terms of the COVID payments, there was something like $200 billion of COVID payment fraud taken by fraudsters out of the country.
Out of the country. Yeah.
That's like I think, listen, if there's going to be fraud, it should at least be domestic.
Yeah.
So, you know. But they managed to get $200 billion out of the country. I'm like, what? Didn't we notice that?
Let me ask you, let's do immigration here for a second. You know, there's this move now that Trump's latest thing is that he's going to cut funding, any kind of money that ends up in the hands of illegal immigrants. So if you're funding these sanctuary cities and states, that's how they thrive, right? They're paying for these hotels. That's all federal money. If you got a hotel in your city, in New York, you got all these hotels full of migrants. That's not state money. That's the feds are covering that. He's going to cut all that. It's really hard to deport 15 million people. And it seems like the move now is, let's see if we, especially at the rate that we're going, it seems like the move now is, let's make it so that they leave on their own. If there's no longer a dole system for them, if they can't get their hands on hotel rooms and money, they're going to go back, especially if there's no work.
Well, I think it's really important for people to understand that the Biden administration sent any possible in New York. That is an outrage.
Yeah.
They actually did that. And not only that, even after the president signed an executive order saying it has to stop, the FEMA, the sort of whatever default. I love it. Still pressed send.
Hold on, this makes no sense. Trump is holding a Black History Month event and celebrating Black History Month, even after he ordered them to get rid of Black History Month because it's DEI. President Trump marked Black History Month at the White House on Thursday by making an appearance at a celebrity reception with a surprise guest, Tiger Woods, while calling out other athletes in attendance and marveling at the size of the crowd. Trump announced he planned to bring Alice Johnson, a prison reform advocate he pardoned in 2020, into his administration to work on clemency issues. The White House's Black History Month reception preserved a tradition, but it comes in the wake of Trump issuing a wide-ranging executive order ending the federal government's DEI programs. Trump didn't mention his anti-DEI crusade as he addressed hundreds of guests in the reception in the East Room, though he did make a brief reference to the New York Times 1619 Project, which highlights the lasting consequences of slavery. That's just bizarre, dude. Why is Trump doing Black History Month if that's DEI and he's trying to get rid of DEI? I guess I just don't understand.
On $80 million last week to go to the Roosevelt Hotel in New York and other places last week.
P. Murph, what's up?
Now they're mad that
Hold on, let me this. Wasn't most of Tesla's income from the federal government from a grant because he made EVs? P. Murph, yes, that, and it's also like selling carbon credits as well. Like Tesla makes most of its, like a huge chunk of its money off of selling carbon credits. It's insane to me seeing the courts trying to make Trump spend all this money. Yes, Congress has the power of the purse to allot X amount of monies to something. That doesn't mean that we have to spend X amount of monies on something if it can be done cheaper or better, yet not need done at all. Yeah, it's an interesting topic, Hydra. It's an interesting constitutional issue. I think it depends on sort of the specifics of each individual case, and it's like the president has identified a payment as going out as being a fraudulent payment. Like he obviously can withhold that and doesn't have to make that payment. You know, the problem is if he does like sort of across the board, like, oh, I'm just not going to make these payments that Congress appropriated just because I don't like it. Not necessarily because it's like some individual decision about fraud. That's one way to look at it anyway.
it got stopped, and they're like trying to sue to have it be restored. It's like the gumption is.
You think they're creating a new voter class? Would you think that was the goal when they opened up the borders for 4 years? Create a new voter class, get them citizenship, get them in. Green cards, vote.
A lot of these things, like you don't actually have to assume some grand conspiracy. You just need to look at basic incentives.
Benefits.
So if the incentives, fundamentally, if the probability that an illegal is going to vote Democrat at some point, whether it's cheating, but eventually they can become citizens. But if the probability is like 80, 90%, just look at California, which is supermajority Dem, and then the incentive is to maximize the number of illegals in the country. That is why the Biden administration was pushing to get in as many illegals as possible and spend every dollar possible to get as many, because every one of them is a customer, every one of them is a voter. Yeah. So the whole thing was a giant voter importation scam.
Pretty obvious.
Very obvious. Yeah. And then moreover, then they actually created the CVP1 voter app thing, where they were, which is like where they would literally fly people in. It's not like at the point at which people are being flown in at your expense.
We're sending planes,
like building a wall
up,
doesn't
fly
matter.
them over the border.
Yeah, they're literally flying them in.
No other country in the world would do something like that. Nobody is this stupid.
Yeah, and then we found that it was like $100 million contract given to some guy in London, actually, oddly enough, for the CVP1 app. So they're flying illegals into the swing states. Yeah, and if you've got like a margin of victory of maybe 20,000 people, and you fly 200,000 illegals into that state, it's not going to be a swing state for long.
Change the numbers eventually.
Maybe
in 4 or 8 years, you're talking about perpetual
it's just a matter
power.
of time.
It's a long game.
It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
So it might take like a year for an asylum seeker or something to get a green card, and then 5 years for the citizenship. It's an investment that is guaranteed to pay off. Yeah. Just a question of when.
They all remember who brought them in and who left them here.
Exactly.
I want to go back. I want to talk about Biden.
This is a big deal. Like I think a lot of people don't quite appreciate that this was an actual, real scam at scale to tilt the scales of democracy in America.
It's treason.
Yeah.
One more Biden question. I remember when they would do the electric car stuff, they would always try to box you out, even though you have the only electric car anybody wants. You said, I think this week, that you think that Biden left these astronauts up in space because he didn't want to give you an opportunity to save them, make NASA look bad, make the price.
Yeah, I think that's right, Hydra. Yeah, I think that's right, Hydra. I agree with that, Hydra. I didn't realize that's what you were saying. Like, basically still achieve the exact same like goal and purpose of the original appropriation, but just do it a little bit more efficiently. Yeah.
Private sector look better, make you look good. Do you believe that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, of course.
I kind of agree. I mean, why would he want to let you help them come down when you're supporting the president?
I mean, the Biden administration was attacking me next level. I mean, the Department of Justice or Injustice under the Biden administration was. I mean, they were suing SpaceX. They're suing SpaceX for not hiring asylum seekers, and we're like, but it's actually illegal for us to hire asylum seekers because rocket technology is covered under ITAR rules, which means it's an advanced weapons technology.
Yeah.
And so we can only hire permanent residents or green or citizens.
Right.
Like so we're damned if we do, damned if we don't. And we said, like, so how can they sue us for not hiring asylum seekers when it's actually illegal for us to do so? Yeah. But nonetheless, there was a big Department of Justice or Injustice case about this against SpaceX. So obviously it was an antagonistic situation. And those astronauts were supposed to be up there for 8 days, and now they're up there for 8 months. Does that make any sense? And we obviously could have brought them back sooner, but they didn't want anyone who supported President Trump to look good, basically.
Yeah,
that's the issue.
A lot of them are saying right now that the reason that you want to get into Social Security, that you want to get into all of these different Treasury and things like that, is that you're looking for personal information and you're trying to make more money.
Yeah.
I've never met anybody as rich as you that cared less about money in my life. Every time I hear a story about you, you're sleeping on a couch of some other guy in a city that you could buy the entire thing.
Yeah,
I don't think you care about money, do you?
No, actually, I mean, listen. Like, if I steal some Social Security, I can finally buy nice things.
Yeah.
You know?
and on that same question, they're also talking about you guys are going to end Social Security, you're going to end Medicare, you're going to end these things. I don't imagine that conversation has been had with the president. That's the plan.
No, in fact, the actions that we're taking with the support of the president and the support of the agencies is what will save Medicare, what will save Social Security.
Yeah.
And it's because if the country goes insolvent, if all the money is just spent on paying interest on debt, there's no money left for anything.
Yeah.
So that's the reason I'm doing this, is because I was looking at the big picture here, and it's like, man, our debt's getting out of control. The interest payments, the interest on the national debt now exceeds the entire Defense Department budget.
$1 trillion a year in
Yes.
interest just to carry the money that we owe is $1 trillion a year.
Yes.
That is unbelievable.
And rising rapidly. So like, I mean, a country's no different from a person. Country overspends.
Sorry, I'm eating. Sorry, I'm eating here. Lord Venture. Thank you, Lord Venture. Welcome.
Country goes bankrupt. Same as a person who overspends goes
I'm just about done though.
bankrupt. So it's not like optional to solve these things. It's essential. So,
We're going to go back.
Oh yeah.
yes.
JD Vance has been killing it.
Couple minutes left here. Russia. There's a huge push from the
Oh yeah.
administration
People are like sometimes like
to end this war.
say like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm
Pro law.
board
Okay.
of Putin.
Yeah.
I'm like, he can't afford me.
Yeah. I think you're worth more than Russia.
Think about it.
So you're trying to end a war. It's all ending a war always means you have to compromise, you have to negotiate with an enemy or an adversary. That's just what it is. Right now, they are lambasting the president for trying a different method to a war that they haven't been able to end for 3 years.
Yeah.
They're saying Trump's blaming Zelensky for the invasion. How do you process all of the negativity toward him for trying to end this war?
Well, First of all, I think we should have empathy for the people dying at the front lines. That's the most important thing. And people have been dying, you know, it's like, how many more years is this supposed to go on? And imagine if that was your son, your father, you know, what are they dying for? What exactly are they dying for? That line has the line of engagement has barely moved for 2 years. There's a whole bunch of people dead in trenches for what? And I'll tell you what for what. It's like for the biggest graft machine that I've ever seen in my life. That's for what.
Yeah, Esrol. Also, good comment, pro law in response to Esrol. I would also say in response to Esrol that actions speak louder than words, Esrol. And when the Democrat actions show that they want illegal aliens pouring into this country unvetted, then that speaks louder than their words.
What? It's unreal. Like the amount of money that is being taken in graft and bribery is disgusting. And so what's actually happening is that those you know people, those poor guys are getting sent into a meat grinder for money. That's what's actually going on. Yeah. And it needs to stop.
And that's it seems, I mean, Trump is so pragmatic on this. He's just looking at it and he's saying it's Ukraine, it's not our country, it's not a NATO ally. I just want to see people not dying. I want to see on both sides. I mean, think about how many so many young men have died in Ukraine that the army is starting to age out. The military is aging. You got 40 and 50-year-old guys fighting in a war because there's nobody left that's not killed or maimed in their 20s.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. Think about how many people that is. If you're a humanitarian at all, you just got to end the war. Like, no matter what, just get it over with.
Yes, people, they need to stop dying. And the grift machine's got to stop, you know, so, and I think people, a lot of people out there don't realize, like, the president has a lot of empathy. He really cares, you know, he's a good man. So.
I got one more for you. I've been fascinated by you for a very long time.
Thanks.
I've never seen anybody that can, do so many things at the same time. I mean, you've got the rockets, you got the cars. I've always wanted to ask you, what is it like inside your mind? Like, is it just 1,000 miles an hour? I mean, are you?
Yeah.
Is it just not? I mean, does it ever stop? Do you sleep? How much do you sleep? What's? Paint us a picture of inside of the mind of a genius. Like, how do you do all this? Can you answer that question? It's not an easy question.
I mean, my mind is a storm. Yeah. So, the storm.
Yeah, Lord Venture, I talked about this whole about Ukraine and what's going on with that a bunch last night, but yeah, I mean, I basically agree with you that Trump has got bigger strategies and bigger plans that are going behind the scenes, and everybody's just sort of like taking his comments about Ukraine sort of at surface level and at face value, and there's a lot more to it.
But I mean, let me maybe tell you something. Like, you didn't ask the question, but I think it's worth, and nonetheless, maybe just elaborating on something, which is...
There you go, Esrol. There you go.
I grew up in South Africa, but my morality was informed by America. I read comic books, played Dungeons and Dragons, and I watched American TV shows, and it seemed like America cared about being the good guys, about doing the right thing. And that's actually pretty unusual, by the way. Yeah. It's like
in the world, it's very unusual.
Yeah, it's not like
most countries don't do that.
No, they don't. No. And so I was like, yeah, you want to be this good, you want to be on the side of good, you want to care about what's right, and yeah, so that's what I believe in, So
I gave you a tough one at the end.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's great. That's great. Elon Musk.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Elon Musk is the man. All right, who got to see the Caroline Leavitt press briefing? hearing, February 20th, 2025. Caroline Levitt.
Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. I brought some heavy hitters in here with me today. Today marks 1 month of President Trump's return to the Oval Office, and there is no denying this administration is off to a historic start. The president has already signed 73 executive orders. That is more than double the number signed by Joe Biden and more than quadruple the number signed by Barack Obama over the same period. These executive orders have ended burdensome regulations, sealed the border, unleashed our domestic energy sector, eliminated divisive DEI from our federal government, stopped the weaponization of government, cut waste, fraud, and abuse, reinstituted America First trade and foreign policies, and ultimately restored common sense. The president also signed the Laken Riley Act into law, which ensures ICE will detain illegal aliens arrested or charged with theft or violence. As of today, the Senate has already confirmed 18 cabinet-level nominees, which is more than at this point under the Obama administration in 2009, and more than double the pace of the Biden administration in 2021. And today, we expect Kash Patel to be confirmed as the next director of the FBI. We are proud to announce that the president will host his first official cabinet meeting here at the White House next Wednesday, February 26th. In just 4 weeks, President Trump has already hosted the leaders of Israel, Japan, Jordan, and India. And next Monday, the president will host France's President Emmanuel Macron. And on Thursday, the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer will visit the White House as well. As you all know, over the past month, the president has taken questions from the press, all of you, nearly every single day, sometimes on multiple different occasions in the same day, on any topic any of you wish to talk about. President Trump set the tone on this approach immediately when he took more than 12 times the questions in his first few hours in office, as Joe Biden did in his entire first week. Yesterday, we hosted a local media row here at the White House with television and radio stations from across the country that reached up to 60 million viewers and listeners. In our ongoing pursuit of transparency on this 1 month celebration, I am thrilled to bring 3 of my colleagues and our policy experts here at the White House to further recap this incredible first month of accomplishments in greater detail. We have Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy and Homeland Security Advisor Stephen Miller, the Director of the National Economic Council, Kevin Hassett, and our National Security Advisor, Mike Waltz. I will hand it over to them. They will deliver brief remarks on the accomplishments of this administration in the first month, and then we will open it up to Q&A. When we open up the Q&A portion, I do ask, for the sake of efficiency in this room, that you direct your question to the principal you seek an answer.
Lord Venture Lecture, is it safe to say that you're on a roll in life? You unironically seem to have found a happy balance between being casual, relaxed, and professional. Lord Venture, thank you. I'm glad you say that, Lord Venture, because sometimes I feel that I'm not nearly professional enough. And I come home from work and I put on a hoodie. I've got a hooded sweatshirt on, you know. Like, I feel like I'm too casual, relaxed, and not professional enough. So I'm glad you say that, Lord Venture, because sometimes I feel like I'm lacking the professionalism here just because I'm at home in my sweatpants right now, you know.
From, and I will call on you in this room. But first, I will let them roll through their remarks. And first up, I'll turn it over to Stephen Miller.
Thank you. It's great to be back. And I want to just thank you all for joining today, our 1 month celebration of the most historic opening to a presidency in American history. No president comes close to what Donald Trump has achieved over just the last 30 days. He has packed 8 years of transformative action, restoring this nation, restoring our laws, restoring fairness, restoring economic opportunity, restoring national security in just
well, thank you, guys.
No
thank
one
you.
in this country's ever seen anything like it. And when you look at the consequentiality and the significance and the transformative nature of the actions he's taking, it truly defies description. For example, in just one area, this nation has been plagued and crippled by illegal discrimination, diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. It's strangled our economy. It has undermined public safety. It has made every aspect of life more difficult, more painful, and less safe. He has ended all DEI across the federal government. He has terminated all federal workers involved in promulgating these unlawful policies. He has ended diversity, equity, and inclusion in all federal contracting. He has restored merit as the cornerstone of all federal policy, restored the full, fair, impartial enforcement of our federal civil rights laws for the first time in generations. And he has cracked down on individuals across this government and nonprofits who have engaged in illegal racial discrimination against the American people. This includes making clear to every educational institution in this country that ending diversity, equity, and inclusion, ending unlawful race discrimination is a precondition of receiving federal funds. He has also saved women's sports by ending the participation of men in women's sports. He has ended radical gender ideology across the entire federal government, and he's pressured the private sector to also end and combat radical gender ideology. He's reestablished the scientific and biological truth that there are only two sexes in this country, male and female, that those are
This is incredible, this list of accomplishments. Jeez.
biologically based determinations. They are not based and can never be based on gender identity. That includes rooting out of the Department of Defense all DEI policies, all critical race theory, all gender madness, and once again having a military that is focused solely and exclusively on readiness, preparedness, and lethality. As I'm sure Kevin will talk about more, of course, he has undertaken a historic cost-cutting effort across the federal government, launching the first ever Department of Government Efficiency, uncovering corruption on a scale that we never thought imaginable, terminating every single federal worker that we have found to be engaged in the corruption and theft and the waste of taxpayer dollars, and already saving $50 billion in a single year, which over a 10-year period would be $500 billion. Just think about how vast and enormous that sum is. Of course, as you all know, he has renamed the Gulf of Mexico to its correct and proper name, the Gulf of America. He has renamed Mount Denali into Mount McKinley, part of a historic effort to restore patriotism and national pride all across this land. He has
And Fort Bragg is back, too.
ended the weaponization of the federal government, restored the Department of Justice to its true mission of combating threats to this nation and keeping the American people safe. He has ended all federal censorship of free speech. This has been one of the greatest crises that has plagued this nation. Years and years and years of the federal government violating the First Amendment to take away Americans' right of free speech. President Trump has ended that, and he has demanded that all federal workers, all law enforcement, cease any effort to intimidate the rights of Americans or to police their speech. He is also
Oh, for sure, pro-law, for sure. The next, I'm sure, pro-law, I'm sure, because of Donald Trump's prolific use of executive orders in the first 30 days, I guarantee it, pro-law, if a Democrat wins in 2028, they will break records with their number of executive orders in their first 30 days, too. No question, reversing all of these. No question. That's what sucks about executive orders compared to congressional legislation. Unfortunately, we don't have a filibuster-proof majority in the Senate, and so that's why they're having to do this reconciliation crap. And so it's very difficult to get lasting change. Yeah, like Obamacare was huge, and because it was a statute with Congress, it's much in there for good. Right, pro-law, right. EOs, it's gone like the wind, right. And even a lot of what Trump is doing with these like government efficiencies and saving money and like a lot of that stuff, it's like that can, I mean, that'll help, but it'll only help with respect to when the president reports back to Congress and says, hey, we've got extra money here. We have, you know, it's like, we got to get Congress to do the right thing still, you know, can't just rely on President Trump.
Also restored the death penalty at the Department of Justice, including for illegal aliens who commit murder, including for those who murder cops, and including for all of those who threaten Americans with heinous acts of violence. The death penalty is back. Law and order is back. The streets are being made safe once again. On the public health front, he has launched the nation's first ever commission, the MAHA Commission, Make America Healthy Again, following the historic confirmation of RFK Jr., to finally uncover the true root causes of the public health crisis in this country, the childhood disease epidemic in this country, the spiraling rates of pediatric cancer, and devastating childhood sickness. He has finally created a situation where the federal health agencies in this country will be focused on preventing disease, on keeping children from getting sick in the first place, not sending them to a lifetime in and out of hospitals, suffering needlessly, when we can find ways to prevent this epidemic of illness. Then, of course, on Homeland Security. Today, it is officially the law of the land, at the conclusion of the congressional notification process, that 6 Mexican cartels and 2 transnational gangs, Tren de Aragua, or TDA, and MS-13, so 8 organizations in total, are now formally designated as foreign terrorist organizations, which means that every single member of those organizations who operates on U.S. soil is now, as a legal matter, a terrorist, and they will be treated as terrorists. This is a sea change in U.S. policy. And this means the Department of Justice and
this is insane to listen to. The Stephen Miller is so good. Wow, and what he's saying is just unbelievable to listen to. Like, wow, I can't even express like how mind-blowing this is and how impressive Stephen Miller is.
Department of Homeland Security, along with the rest of U.S. law enforcement and the Department of Defense, are now operating in a legal reality where these cartels are recognized as...
By the way, I agree, Lord Venture. I agree, Hydra. I agree, Pro-Law.
terrorists. And there will be a whole of government effort to remove these terrorists from our soil and
good, Hydra,
to degrade their ability to threaten or undermine any American security or sovereignty interests. Border crossings, since the day he took office, are down 95%. I think it's almost impossible to even describe the scale and scope of that achievement. President Trump, within days of taking office, cut border crossings 95%. And those few who have dared to cross are being either prosecuted or deported. They're either facing significant jail time for trafficking, smuggling, harboring, aiding, impeding, or they're being immediately removed from our soil. Either way, at the end of the process, they are going home. He's re-implemented Remain in Mexico, and he has obtained historic cooperation from foreign countries all around the world in accepting their deportees back. And he has used the United States military to fully seal the southern border with a historic deployment of both active duty and National Guard troops, resumed the building of infrastructure. He has opened up Guantanamo Bay, and he's using military aircraft to carry out deportations all across this country. And ICE is joining with ATF, DEA, and FBI to carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. The criminals are going home. The border is sealed shut. America is safe, sovereign, proud, and free. We are a nation that everyone in the world understands all across this planet. You do not come here illegally. You will not get in. You will go to jail. You will go home. You will not succeed. This is the biggest and most successful change in any area of law enforcement that this nation has ever seen, and he did it in under 1 month. Thank you.
Wow, that is good.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Stephen. You know, one of the things that President Trump cares most about is job creation. And it was about 7 years ago, I had the honor of joining you in this room for the first time. And it looks like we've created a lot more jobs in the last month. Look at how many people are here. My estimate is about 180, but I didn't count. So thank you. It's really an honor to be back here. I think that I just want to go over a few things and then hand it off to Mike. The first thing is that the president has told us to prioritize fighting inflation. And he had to do that because, as you know, President Biden let inflation get completely out of control. And he did it with policies that made no sense. It made no sense. You know, a lot of times people say to us, our friends, the journalists, you know, why are you doing that? But
good point, pleasers.
You know, I used to think, why did they do that? Why did they spend so much money? And then why did the Fed print so much money so that we had inflation as high as we've ever seen since Jimmy Carter? So why did they do that? So we're addressing inflation. We didn't have to address it in the first term because it was always in the ones, almost always. But we're going to get it back there. And how are we doing it? Well, we're doing it with a plan that President Trump and I and others have talked about in the Oval that involves like every level of fighting inflation. First, the macroeconomic level. We're cutting spending. We're cutting spending in negotiations with people on the Hill. We're cutting spending with the advice of our IT consultant, Elon Musk. And then we're also looking into supply side things, like restoring Trump's tax cuts, maybe even expensing new factories so that there's an explosion of supply. If you have an explosion of supply and a reduction in government demand, then inflation goes way down. And then one of the things that you want to say is, well, when are you going to see it? Well, the first thing that you'll see when the markets believe that we're going to get inflation under control is that the 10-year Treasury rate goes down, because that's how they think about future expected inflation. And so we're still going to see some memory of Biden's inflation. It's not going to go away in a month. But the 10-year...
Yeah, this guy's really good, Prola. Holy cow, who is he? Who is this guy? Because, yeah, this guy's impressive as heck.
Treasury before the last...
Our IT consultant has my size in orbit. Yeah, I like that. I've been thinking about that ever since he said that, Lord Venture. I've literally been thinking about, that's funny. He called Elon Musk their IT consultant. Like, that's kind of great. I kind of love that.
Consumer price index had dropped about 40 basis points. 40 basis points because markets were optimistic about our ability to fight inflation. 40 basis points is kind of not a fun thing to say. Economists talk that way. I apologize. But the way to think about it is, for a typical mortgage, if that affects the mortgage rate, then it's going to save a typical family buying a house about $1,000 a year. And that's just in our first month. Okay. The second thing we've done is we've had a lot of trade talks. In fact, I was just meeting a minister from Mexico with Howard Lutnick just a couple of hours ago. And we're talking about reciprocal trade, and we're also talking about the fentanyl crisis. And so reciprocal trade is about our government treating other governments the way they treat us. We want trade to be fair. It turns out that Americans have been disadvantaged by foreign governments over and over, and President Trump wants it to stop. And the fact that struck me as most noticeable when I started to look at what President Trump was asking us to do is that last year we have data, U.S. companies paid $370 billion in taxes to foreign governments. $370 billion. Last year, foreign multinationals paid us $57 billion in taxes. We have 1/4 of world GDP. They have 3/4 of world GDP, and we're paying 370, they're paying 57. This is not reciprocal. We're going to try, or we're going to fix it. The other thing that we've done is we've had an all-of-the-above energy approach that's led by Doug...
Oh, this is Kevin Hassett, Director of the National Economic Council of the United States. All right, now I want to read. Now I want this guy's bio. Where'd he go to school? Where'd he go to school? Senior advisor and chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors from 17 to 19, co-authored Dow 36,000, published in 99, which argued the stock market was about to have a massive swing upward and would reach 36,000 by 2004. Shortly thereafter, the dot-com bubble burst, causing a massive decline in stock market prices. The Dow did not reach 36,000 until late 2021. That's hilarious. Wikipedia puts that up first. Dow 36,000. The new strategy for profiting from the coming rise in the stock market. Had you guys heard of this? Considering that the rates went up multiple hundreds of points under Biden, I'll take reduction of 40 basis points. Exactly, Hydra. Exactly, for sure. He's not too braggadocious. He's just very matter of fact. Seems pleasant doing it. Everything just makes common sense the way he talks about it. Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. I think he's good. Hassett worked at the American Enterprise Institute. He was John McCain's chief economic advisor, as well as economic advisor to the 04 campaign of W and the 08 campaign of McCain, economic advisor on Mitt's 2012 campaign. Wow, okay, so how did this guy get so involved in, like, politics, man? Like, what? Oh, native of Massachusetts. Of course he's from Massachusetts. Punk. BA from Swarthmore College. in Pennsylvania, and a PhD in economics from Penn under supervision of Alan Auerbach. Hassett was an assistant professor of economics at Columbia from 89 to 93, an associate professor there from 93 to 94. From 92 to 97, Hassett was an economist in the Division of Research and Statistics at the Federal Reserve. Served as a policy consultant to the U.S. Treasury Department during H.W. and Clinton admin. So basically, this guy's like just a genius then. He's basically just like an economic genius. Okay.
Burgum and Chris and a really large team, EPA. And we've already made so many actions that are going to affect the price of energy and lower inflation. We've opened up 625 million acres to energy exploration. We've cut 50 years of red tape that makes it so you can't have permits. And we've even made it so that when you go home, if you get a new one, then you can take a shower or flush a toilet or read under a light bulb. We're doing that too.
Nice.
So finally,
good.
Let's just think about like the facts that we can see right now that we think are awesome. So guess what? Small business optimism has gone up by the most ever since President Trump came in. ISM, which is the measure of what's going on in manufacturing, it's expanding again for the first time in years. CEO confidence is the highest it's been.
Can't do that in Massachusetts right now. We are facing a utility rate crisis here. Really? Like, what do you mean? Like, it's expensive? Massachusetts orders gas utilities to slash delivery fees. Financial relief for natural gas ratepayers in Massachusetts is coming. 6 to slash delivery fees, but not reduce the customer bill by a 5%. That just seems to be a weird story.
In years. And the reason,
like, people's utility bills that were $150 are now $500 to $700. Wow. Yeah, I mean, Prola, our utilities have gone up here in Montana too, and it's annoying AF. And my city water bill has gone up significantly recently. My electricity rates have gone up. I feel like my natural gas is like the only thing that hasn't gone up.
the reason people are thinking this is that our policies give people cause for optimism. And then I want to reiterate what Stephen Miller said, because it's so important, and it's so important for financial markets to start to digest this, that if, say, the Treasury Secretary or any cabinet secretary with...
Oh man, Pro-Law, you're within 800,000 now. Pro-Law is it within 800,000 of Eric. Fighter Killer within 400,000 of Pro-Law. Riding Fence coming up. American Patriot doing well. Zacchaeus doing well. 1927 Ethos, Altair, Numb, Guess, Darius, Hydra, Just Kidding, Grumple, Crazy Noodles, PM, Jim Bart, Shell Ghost, Scooby, Conservative Arc. That's a good election, man. I love the fact that we've got like 2.3 million as the top.
Elon Musk is able to find some savings, say $100 billion. Well, in CBO land, that's actually like about 10 times that, or maybe 12 times that over a 10-year window. And so when you're thinking about the negotiations right now over reconciliation and thinking about, well, 4 trillion, 5 trillion, well, those numbers in terms of the savings are going to end up being small because of all the waste that we're finding. And so we're incredibly optimistic about the future of inflation and the future of our economy. And we're optimistic because we're making so much progress so far, and we already see it in market prices. And with that,
Yo, Miss Uncivilized, welcome, Miss Uncivilized, welcome. Thank you. Very interesting.
Hand it off the mic.
All right. Thanks, Kevin. Well, good afternoon. What a month. and what a sea change in our
I still like Stephen Miller the best. I still like Stephen Miller the best so far out of everybody so far.
foreign policy, in addition to what we're doing on the border and restoring American sovereignty, in addition to what we're doing in our economy and the job creation and the inflation reduction.
Yeah, Hydra. There you go, Hydra. Oh, I am interested, Pro Law. Thank you.
Super warm in here. No, it's not super warm. I think it's right now about 65 in this house right now.
Gone are the days when Frank McManus just lets his heat run. Now he shuts it off during the day and overnight after getting his January gas bill from National Grid.
The grand total was $731
for 1 month of heat.
For 1 month of heat
In a condo.
in an 1,800 square foot condo.
Wow.
That's basically double what my car payment is. Correct.
What's fueling that $731 bill? It's not his gas usage. That's just $243. Instead, it's the delivery fees, which run almost $500.
Why is my delivery fee double what my usage fee was?
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
When Erica Megarian opened her January Eversource gas bill for $514, she was at a loss for words. It's her family's first winter in their Pembroke home, which is larger than their old house, and she knew would cost more to heat.
No.
But just like Frank, it's not the cost of gas. It's the delivery charge that's got her hot under the collar.
We only had $179 of usage and $335 worth of fees. And I said, that's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, that is absurd. What the heck?
Why are our fees double what our
Look at these Democrats. I'm sure she's a Democrat complaining about, oh gosh, yeah, fees.
actual usage is?
2 different homes, 2 different towns, 2 different gas companies, but the same skyrocketing delivery fees, impacting gas heating customers all across the state. I've heard from customer after customer suddenly facing $500, $700, even $800 gas bills.
I mean, my husband and I both do fairly well for our job.
What the frick? We have to ship gas up to New England. The trains and pipes stop around NYC. We tried to get hydropower from Canada, but it failed over the last decade. It makes sense to me. I voted for the Republican who talked about this going to be an issue. Now all the Dems are like shocked Pikachu face. Right, Prola. So you have to ship the gas. Hold on. Like on ship, the natural gas is being sent here on ships. The clean energy folks decided to prevent gas pipelines coming into Massachusetts. No wonder the delivery fees are so high. Holy crap.
But how can anybody afford that?
This is an Eversource gas bill from just 2 years ago, January 2023, when it was common for gas supply and delivery to each make up about half the bill. But in 2 years, the delivery charge
Bro, even $400, even a $200. Dude, my natural gas here is dirt cheap in Montana. You know what my natural gas bill is, Prola, for the house here? And I have a natural gas furnace, and this heater right now that you can maybe hear, it's right above me, is a natural gas. I think they call it a hot dog heater. It's a big heater hanging from the roof of my shop out here. That's natural gas. I've got natural gas hot water, natural gas stove, natural gas furnace. My natural gas bill is like $75. $75 a month. 2,000 square feet. 2,000 square feet, Prola. $75 a month. And it's freezing cold here, Prola. It's freezing cold here. It's absolutely freezing cold here. We aren't allowed natural gas in new construction here? What? Are you serious? That's a communist state. I didn't realize Massachusetts has gone full communism.
exploded, rising anywhere from 30 to 38%. Those increases signed off by state regulators at the Department of Public Utilities.
That's well beyond the rate of inflation. So how are customers supposed to keep up?
And we get that question a lot. And I want to just start by saying, I am a utility customer myself.
Doug Horton is vice president of rates at Eversource and agreed to talk about these gas bills. National Grid did not make anyone available.
One customer sent us a bill that was $800 for 1 month. How's the average person supposed to pay an $800 gas bill?
No, absolutely. And I will just say, first and foremost, energy affordability is front in mind, not only for us at Eversource, but also for the Massachusetts Department of Public Utilities and state leaders.
But a good part of this delivery increase is driven by the state's Mass Save program, which requires utility companies to pay rebates to customers for switching to electric heat, which over time is better for the environment. Those rebates are paid for by gas and electric customers through their delivery fees. Mass Save is reauthorized every 3 years. The previous plan cost $4 billion, but the new plan now getting underway is $1 billion more, paid for with rate hikes.
Did anyone stop and say, is this a...
This is communism. And then not allowing people to have natural gas? This is shocking to me. Honestly, I didn't know. This sounds to me like something that would be going on in like Europe or Great Britain or something. What the freak? This is happening in the United States? Yo, Lord Venture, my garden, I put my garden on ice. My garden's on ice right now because I've got these like a massive 80-year-old cottonwood tree, and then I've got a huge, I don't know how old, 20, 30, 40, 50-year-old apple tree, and then I've got like 8 in a big row, huge pine trees surrounding and on 3.5 quarter or 3.5 sides of my garden pretty much. And so my garden gets no sunlight, and so I can really only grow like super low sunlight plants, and they don't do that well, and so I kind of got discouraged with it and kind of took it off. However, my raspberry patch on the other side of this property is doing fantastic, and I'm stoked to see the raspberry patch come in this next spring.
Affordable for customers to pay.
Absolutely. While that does come at a cost, the cost of doing nothing is greater, and that's really what we're seeing, and why we're continuing to support this program.
Eversource also says the
Palace. I think I maybe have been to the Palace. Cheap drinks, cool bowling alley. I think I have been there, but it's been like probably 7 or 8 years.
Of the increase is going to make pipeline improvements, but it's the delivery charge that also includes a utility's profit. It's cold comfort to customers.
This is just an additional line item of ever increasing costs that we're all trying to navigate through.
Yeah, we all know that well. So both Eversource and National Grid say they offer budget billing plans. They spread these high gas payments out over the whole year. But again, it's the state that approves these rates. I tried repeatedly to get somebody from the Department of Public Utilities to go on camera, but they turned us down. If you are struggling with a surging gas bill, call your state rep or your state senator. Let them know what you think. If you've got a consumer story for me, send me an email, ben@WCVB.
Wow, that's just mind-blowing, seriously. I can't believe the people of Massachusetts support that. Wow. People are blaming the companies, not the policies. I thought people in Massachusetts were supposed to be smart, pro-law. What? Grywolf, what's up?
We are bringing the world back to where it was at the end of President Trump's first term, which is a world of peace, prosperity, and looking forward and getting us out of the chaos that we've just seen over the last 4 years. So over the last month, just to name a few, I had the honor of sitting in the Oval Office as President Trump spoke with President Putin, and then immediately spoke with President Zelensky. And both of them said only President Trump could bring both sides to the table, and only President Trump could stop the horrific fighting.
Yeah, doing mushrooms. That's an interesting idea, Bleezers, doing mushrooms. I'll have to think about that one.
That has been going on now for the better part of 4 years.
Dude, I want more Stephen Miller, Astral. Stephen Miller was the best. He needed to calm down, but he was good.
And that only President Trump could drive the world back to peace. Both of those leaders said that in back-to-back calls. And of course, we just had our historic talks mediated by our good friends and partners, Saudi Arabia. We give great thanks to Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman for hosting, and sat down for the first time in years with the Russians and talked about a path forward with peace. On top of that, and one of the things that led to that was the tremendous confidence building measure that we had with the release of Mark Fogel. I'll remind everyone, the last time that we had an American released from the Russians, either we gave up a deadly spy, pressured our allies to give up a lethal killer, or we released under the Biden administration the world's most notorious arms dealer, Victor Bout, who, by the way, had one of his main clients for arms, the cartels in Mexico and Central America. We gave up none of that. This was released as a confidence building measure, working with our great Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, and our Secretary of State as a first step towards opening these talks and then moving forward towards peace. On top of that, we've secured just in a month the return of 12 American hostages.
I can't even, I'm not even hardly, he's like talking about some of the most important consequential stuff, and I can't even, Prolog, my mind is wandering. Like, my mind is wandering, even though I'm like intensely interested in the subject area. This guy, I'm like falling asleep as well. This is like, come on, dude. Mike Wall.
Russia, from Bulgaria, from Venezuela, the Taliban, and Hamas. Excuse me, that's from Belarus, not Bulgaria. We also had, for the first time in quite some time, we took out a senior leader of ISIS, an international financier and recruiter that the military had been trying to take out for quite some time. And wasn't able to do so, frankly, because of a bureaucratic approval process. President Trump said, take him out, and that ISIS financier and leader is no longer on this earth. We've also
didn't know that
taken action to eliminate other terrorist organizations in the Middle East.
Right, bro. Right.
The president was even in office. He started talking consequences for people that would hold Americans. Heretofore, there's been nothing but upside. You take an American, you get some better deal. You take another one, maybe you get a better deal. No more. There is now nothing but downside for taking Americans illegally, either as hostages or illegal detainees. And when President Trump sent a very clear message across the Middle East, but particularly to Hamas, that there would be all hell to pay,
that's huge.
We suddenly saw a breakthrough. And now we just saw the release of yet another group of hostages. There have been dozens now, including 2 Americans that we've seen once again reunited with their families. As part of the talks with King Abdullah, he offered, and I think the entire world is graciously accepted, to take 2,000.
Oh, check that out. The Asia markets are up right now. Asia markets are up
out of Gaza as a humanitarian gesture. 2,000 Gazans will come out of that hellhole that it is, that wasteland that Gaza is right now, with unexploded ordnance, with debris everywhere, with no sewage, with no water. And President Trump has put forward a plan to deal with the practical reality that is 1.8 million Gazans now truly suffering. And then, just to bring it back to our own hemisphere, we've seen literally in the last month, after years of national security experts, the generals in charge, and others testifying and ringing the alarm bells about the Chinese Communist Party's presence in our own hemisphere, particularly in the Panama Canal. We're seeing the leadership of Panama step away from the Belt and Road program, move away from China and back towards the United States, and even enter into talks and other negotiations about addressing the ports on either side of the canal. And then finally,
I agree, Lord Venture. I agree.
We've had 4 world leaders in the White House.
Physician, what's up, physician?
The Prime Minister of Japan, the Prime Minister of India, the King of Jordan, and of course, the Prime Minister of Israel. Just in the last 4 weeks, and next week, we'll have the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and we'll have the President of France, Macron. So President Trump is on what we call Trump warp speed. We are all honored to be really serving under his leadership and his vision. And truly, you know, when we all say, and the president himself says he is a president of peace. He is a president focused on restoring stability. I think the entire world saw what the world would look like without strong American leadership in the last 4 years. And it's truly been an honor to get us back to where we were and back on track under President Trump's leadership.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I'm sure you're very eager to ask questions of these very smart people working very hard on behalf of the president. We do have somebody in our new media seat today. We have John Stoll, who is the head of news at X. As you all know, you're all on X. It's home to hundreds of millions of users, a large contingent of independent journalists and news organizations across geographies and political spectrums. And at the same time, X remains the go-to platform for many legacy news outlets.
My name is
I know, as I mentioned, many
Colin Robinson, and I am what's known as a psychic vampire or energy vampire. This is my office, also known as the hunting ground. Hi, Deb. Energy vampires drain people's energy merely by talking to them.
Actual versus budget year to date? No thanks. You're going to be at that all day.
We either bore you with a long conversation.
Feeling better now. I was a little sick this weekend. Hey, Don.
Or we enrage you. In fact, you probably know an energy vampire. We're the most common kind of vampire. We are day walkers, not affected by the sun. And we are the only kind of vampire that can drain another vampire's energy. It's very cool.
Yeah, there are people like that, and he's one of them for sure. Oh, that's hilarious. And so, until Elon Musk wants to remove community nodes. Hold on. What has he been noted on? I gotta see this now. I gotta see this. Oh, here we go. Massive EU censorship. This post is unavailable. Readers added context. False information. Telegram Messenger is available. Telegram Lite is not an app. Opera in its browser with VPN functionality is available. SmartTube is Android only. I don't know what the hell the actual tweet is about. Got deleted. Maybe it's in his. Maybe it's his replies. Oh, here's the one. Oh no. Oh, anyway. Back to Caroline Levitt. She's not an energy vampire.
Of the reporters in this room use X to attract eyeballs to your work. Prior to joining X, John spent 2 decades in journalism, including several years as an editor at the Wall Street Journal. We are excited to have him in the briefing room today. John, we'll let you kick it off. And as I said at the top, please direct your question to the individual up here who you'd like an answer from. John, why don't you begin?
All right, thank you very much. I am sitting in for a thriving ecosystem of journalists, independent and emerging news organizations who do depend on X for publicity, for a business model. And so I look forward to seeing many of them in this seat in months and years to come. I also thank you, Caroline, for opening this seat up to new media. It really is a testament not only to your open-mindedness, but also to innovation, that you'd actually think about, folks that are not traditionally credentialed to be in this room, and not only have a question, but also to witness. This is a very important intersection of power and the free press. Mm-hmm. And so just the ability to witness this and be part of it, it brings everybody's game up. So thank you for that. I think this is for Mike Waltz. My question is about Ukraine.
Sure.
For about more than 10 years, I've been fascinated, like many, with what's going on. Was in Northern Europe, working out of the Baltics when Crimea was annexed, and was a lot of this came on Twitter. The platform used to be known as Twitter. Was a lot of European leaders would talk about their disappointment and solidarity with Ukraine, but when it came to actually doing something, it felt like they were passing a hot potato and sent it over the Atlantic. I wonder how much of what we're seeing right now out of the administration and President Trump is a call to Europe and the European leaders and the allies that we've traditionally had to pick up that hot potato and start doing something a little bit more concrete to win and preserve the peace in Ukraine. The second question I have is, it's related, is there's been a lot of speculation that President Trump and the administration might be manipulated by Vladimir Putin. I wonder if you just talk a little bit about the administration's posture and your confidence in the competence of this administration to go toe-to-toe with Vladimir Putin.
Well, I'll take the second question first. If there's anybody in this world that can go toe-to-toe with Putin, that could go toe-to-toe with Xi, that could go toe-to-toe with Kim Jong-un, and we could keep going down the list, it's Donald J. Trump. He is the deal maker in chief. There is no question that he is the commander in chief. And I, for one, and I think all Americans and around the world should have no doubt about his ability to not only handle Putin, but to handle the complexity of driving this war to an end. And then on your first piece on Europe, I'll take you back to 2014. You're right. There was a lot of hand-wringing in Europe and not a lot of action. There's also a lot of hand-wringing here in Washington under the Obama administration and not a lot of action. They literally threw blankets at the problem. And so I'll remind everyone that Putin had some type of conflict, invasion, or issue with their neighbor under President Bush with Georgia, under President Obama with Ukraine 2014, not under President Trump 45, and again with President Biden in 2022. The war should have been deterred. The war should have never happened. And I have no doubt it would not have happened under President Trump and will stop under President Trump again. But I just want to push back on this notion of our European allies not being consulted as we've entered into this process. I already mentioned the immediate phone call President Trump made to President Zelensky. He has talked to President Macron of France repeatedly last week. President Macron convened European leaders and then is coming here on Monday. Prime Minister Starmer is coming next Thursday. I've talked to every one of my national security advisor counterparts across the spectrum in Europe. I've talked to Secretary General Rutte, the leader of NATO, the Secretary General of NATO. We have repeatedly, oh, by the way, we had half our cabinet, 7 cabinet officials, including the vice president, at the Munich Security Conference, all engaging, all listening, and all making sure our allies are heard. However, we've also made it clear for years, decades even, that it is unacceptable that the United States and the United States taxpayer continues to bear the burden, not only of the cost of the war in Ukraine, but of the defense of Europe. We fully support our NATO allies. We fully support the Article 5 commitment, but it's time for our European allies to step up. And one of the things that Secretary General Rutte said on our call was, this last couple of weeks have been a real wake-up call. And I asked him, what have you been missing the last couple of years? The fact that we are going to enter into a NATO summit this June with a third of our NATO allies still not meeting the 2% minimum, a commitment they made a decade ago, literally a decade ago, with a war on their doorstep, the largest war that they're all extremely concerned about, but yet it's, well, somebody else needs to pay. We've got other domestic priorities. It's unacceptable. President Trump's made that clear. and the minimum needs to be met. We need to be at 100% in this June at the NATO summit. And then let's talk about exceeding it, which is what President Trump has been talking about with 5% of GDP. Europe needs to step up for their own defense as a partner, and we can be friends and allies and have those tough conversations.
Peter.
Thank you, Caroline. I have a Ukraine one and a Doge one. Who can talk Doge?
Stephen.
I could do Doge. All of us. Doge. Well, so Stephen, we're hearing about these Doge dividend checks that would be 20% back to taxpayers, 20% to pay down the debt, 60% is left. Who gets that?
Well, the way that it works is when you achieve savings, you can either return it to taxpayers, you can return it to our debtors, or it can be cycled into next year's budget, and then it just lowers the overall baseline for next year. So in other words, you can just transfer into the next fiscal window and then lower the overall spending level. And that means that you can achieve a permanent savings that way, and that reduces the deficit.
And when is it that people might see those checks?
Well, this is all going to be worked on through the reconciliation process with Congress that's going underway right now. As you've seen, the Senate's moving a bill, the House is moving a bill. The president has great confidence in both chambers to deliver on his priorities. I would just take this opportunity to note that President Trump has made a historic commitment to the working class of this country to fight for major tax relief and major price relief. And cutting spending, as Doge is doing, and cutting taxes is the key to delivering on both of those promises. And President Trump is resolutely committed to doing both.
Thank you. And on Ukraine, I guess this is for Mike.
Sure.
After the president's post on Truth Social yesterday, need to know, who does he think is more responsible for the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Putin or Zelensky?
Well, look, his goal, Peter, is to bring this war to an end, period. And there has been ongoing fighting on both sides. It is World War I style trench warfare. His frustration with President Zelensky is that you've heard is multifold. One, there needs to be a deep appreciation for what the American people, what the American taxpayer, what President Trump did in his first term, and what we've done since. So some of the rhetoric coming out of Kyiv, frankly, and insults to President Trump were unacceptable, number one. Number two, our own Secretary of Treasury personally made the trip to offer the Ukrainians what can only be described as a historic opportunity. That is for America to co-invest with Ukraine in their minerals, in their resources, to truly grow the pie. So case in point, there's a foundry that processes aluminum in Ukraine. It's been damaged. It's not at its current capacity. If that is restored, it would account for America's entire imports of aluminum for an entire year. That one foundry. There are tremendous resources there. Not only is that long-term security for Ukraine, not only do we help them grow the pie with investments, but we do have an obligation to the American taxpayer in helping them recoup the hundreds of billions that have occurred. So, rather than enter into some constructive conversations about what that deal should be going forward, we got a lot of rhetoric in the media that was incredibly unfortunate. And I could just tell you, Peter, as a veteran, as somebody who's been in combat, this war is horrific. And I think we've lost sight of that, of the literally thousands of people that are dying a day, families that are going without the next generation. And I find it kind of, frankly ridiculous. So many people in Washington that were just pounding the table for a ceasefire in Gaza are suddenly aghast that the president would demand one and both sides come to the table when it comes to Ukraine, a war that has been arguably far greater in scope and scale and far more dangerous in terms of.
So this guy doing pretty well, huh? This guy's doing pretty well. Oh, he's putting us to sleep.
Global escalation.
He's doing better on this second. He's doing better now answering this question than before.
To U.S. security.
And I do have one for Caroline. Does President Trump have a bet with Trudeau about this USA-Canada hockey game tonight? And when there is a big hockey game on, is the president watching for the goals or?
Every conservative I've talked to, Altair says, no, we don't want government checks. No, we don't want checks. No, if we have find savings, let's actually have savings. Ridiculous.
For the fights?
Probably both. I think he's watching for the United States to win tonight. I know he talked to the USA hockey team this morning. He talked to the players after their morning practice around 10 o'clock. And I also spoke to some folks from that team after. They were jubilant over President Trump's comments to the team. I believe they're going to put out a video of that call. So he looks forward to watching the game tonight, and we look forward to the United States beating our soon-to-be 51st state, Canada. Bloomberg, go ahead.
My question is for Mike Waltz. Can you give us a readout of Kellogg's meeting with Zelensky that just wrapped up? And in particular, Zelensky publicly rejected this deal about the rare earth minerals. Where does that stand?
Well, we're going to continue to have, he needs to come back to the table, and we're going to continue to have discussions about where that deal is going. Again, we have an obligation to the taxpayer. I think this is an opportunity. The president thinks this is an opportunity for Ukraine going forward. There can be, in my view, nothing better for Ukraine's future and for their security.
Well, unfortunately, Donald Trump's initial efforts here to resolve the war in Ukraine are not going so well from all public appearances.
Than to have the United States invested in their prosperity long term. And then a key piece of this has also been security guarantees. Look,
oh yeah, physician, you remember that? Oh yeah, I used to beat down on Hassan big time in those Destiny group debates. Oh yeah, absolutely, physician. No, I beat Hassan every time I debated him. I debated Hassan like 10 times or something back then. Beat him every time.
The reality that
that was good times. That was definitely good times.
We're talking about here is it in Ukraine's interest? Is it in Europe's interest? It certainly isn't in Russia's interest or in the American people's interest for this war to grind on forever and ever and ever. So a key part of his conversation was helping President Zelensky understand this war needs to come to an end.
I thought it was 2020. I thought it was 2020. I don't know. I can't remember. 2019, 2020, 2021. I think 2018, 2019, 2020, somewhere in there.
This kind of open-ended mantra that we've had under the Biden administration, that's over. And I think a lot of people are having a hard time accepting that. And then the other piece is there's been discussions from Prime Minister Starmer and also President Macron about European-led security guarantees. We welcome that. We've been asking Europe to step up and secure its own prosperity, safety, and security. So we
yes, Lord Venture. Wait, was that for the BNN? Was that for Bastiat News Network? Oh yeah, that was. He read it on stream and died inside and outside. Oh, I wish I had the clip of that. Alter with the primer. Oops, forgot my prime was up again. Thank you, Alter. Appreciate the primer. Thank you. Thank you.
We certainly
That's
welcome
hilarious,
that,
Lord
and
Venture.
We certainly welcome more European assistance. As I told my counterparts, come to the table with more if you want a bigger seat at the table. And we've been asking for that for quite some time.
And has Russia pushed for sanctions in your talks with them? And have you consulted with international partners and allies about potentially rolling back sanctions in these negotiations to end the war?
The talks with our Russian counterparts, both with my counterpart, the National Security Advisor, Secretary Rubio's counterpart, the Foreign Minister Lavrov, it really was quite broad, focused on what is the goals for our broader relationship. But very clear that the fighting has to stop to get to any of those brighter goals. And as a first step, we're just going to do some common sense things like restore the ability of both of our embassies to function. And again, this is common sense in foreign policy world. They call it shuttle diplomacy. We have to talk to both sides in order to get to both sides to the table, and both sides have said only President.
I'd assume so, yes, Altair. I assume so, yes, Altair.
President Trump could do that.
Deanna.
Thank you. My question is for Mike Waltz.
All right.
Sorry. The president.
I wish Raj would still do those Raj Royales, man, because I would absolutely go on those Raj Royales and I would still dominate even today. Rob Noor would dominate as well. I wish Raj Royale would do those again. I wish he was still named Raj instead of Austin too, but c'est la vie.
The president has called Zelensky a dictator. Does he view Putin as a dictator? And does he want Zelensky out of power? I know he's called for elections. And then thirdly, the head of the Defense Committee in Ukraine's parliament just has claimed that the U.S. has stopped selling weapons to Ukraine. Is that true?
Well, most of our weapons that have gone to Ukraine have been part of a drawdown authority where we've literally taken them out of our stocks and then eventually through appropriations started buying them again to refill our stocks. I'll just state that there has been a lag in a lot of that process. So many of our stocks, as we look at our operations around the world, are becoming more depleted. That's one of the reasons many people have had a lot of concern about when does this end? How much is it going to take? How many lives will be lost? How much will we spend? As a member of Congress, we repeatedly asked the Biden administration those questions, and we never got a satisfactory answer. Look, President Trump is obviously very frustrated right now with President Zelensky. The fact that that he hasn't come to the table, that he hasn't been willing to take this opportunity that we have offered. I think he.
The question was the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians said that the U.S. stopped selling them weapons, and she asked if that's true, and he basically said, "Yeah, that is true."
Eventually, will get to that point, and I hope so very quickly. But President Trump is, as we made clear to our Russian counterparts, and I want to make clear today, he's focused on stopping the fighting and moving forward. And we could argue all day long about what's happened in the past.
Reagan.
Yeah, what about, I have a question for Stephen.
Excuse me, I just called on Reagan. Reagan, go ahead.
I have a question for Stephen and a question for Mike.
Sure.
Stephen, I can start with you. There have been reports that Trump is unhappy with the rate of deportations and he wants them to be higher. Is the president happy with the rate of deportations, and are there any plans to speed up the process?
Well, first of all, we all appreciate the encouragement from the media to deport as many illegal aliens as humanly possible. So thank you. And I will promise you that the full might of the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Justice, the Department of Defense, and every element and instrument of national power will be used to remove, with speed, all criminal illegals from the soil of the United States of America, to enforce final removal orders, and to ensure that this country is for American citizens and those who legally belong in this country. We inherited an ICE that was completely shuttered. We inherited a Department of Homeland Security whose sole mission was to resettle illegal aliens within the United States of America. In 30 days, the president sealed the border shut, declared the cartels to be terrorist organizations, has increased ICE deportations to levels not seen in decades, and we are shortly on the verge of achieving a pace and speed of deportations this country has never before seen. Thank you.
And Mike, there have been reports that
In other words, he didn't answer the question.
there's some underground opposition to Trump's pick for Undersecretary of Defense and Policy, Elbridge Colby. Have you or anyone from the administration been personally lobbying senators to support Elbridge Colby?
Look, I've worked with Bridge Colby in the past. He has the president's full support to be the Undersecretary of Policy, which will be a critical policy arm for Secretary Hegseth going forward that will implement a lot of these policies. And really, that's been to the extent of it. I think there's been a lot of kind of, breath.
Apparently, Hamas displayed coffins that it held the bodies of Israeli hostages before the crowd of militants while handing them over to Israel on Thursday in a spectacle that included taunts and anti-Israel slogans. No flipping way, dude. My gosh, they literally took babies hostage? What the frick?
This is probably the saddest day since October 7.
It's not just 4 people. It's more than that. It's the sense of helplessness. The fact that this country could not bring back these people alive. It's mind-boggling. I think it's beyond human comprehension. The sense of loss, the sense of rage that permeates, I think, most of Israeli society.
I bet. I'd be pissed too. Yo, Killa, what's up, Killa? I agree, Killa. All right, what's this next one says? The boy's father, Yarden, was also taken. He was later released during the first phase of the Gaza ceasefire deal. Holy cow, Killa with the follow. Thank you, Killa. Man, it is not possible for any people group to coexist with Hamas. No, these people need to be, obviously need to be wiped out. My word, these people are evil, dude. Hamas displayed coffins that it said had the bodies of 4 Israeli hostages before a crowd of militants while handing them over to Israel on Thursday in a spectacle that included taunts and anti-Israel slogans. Hours later, the Israeli military released a statement saying that one of the bodies returned was anonymous and unidentified, not a mother who was kidnapped with their 2 young sons and whose body Hamas had said it would release this week. This is a violation of utmost severity. Dude, call it off with the Hamas at this point. Call off the ceasefire, call off the deals, like go in and basically take them out at this point. Like, this is ridiculous. The coffins that Hamas released each had a photo of a hostage on it, including the woman's 2 young redheaded children, as well as a picture of Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, over which was written "The Killer." The coffins were placed on a stage before cheering spectators and cameras that broadcast the scenes on Arab TV. The International Committee of the Red Cross, who received the remains and transferred them to Israeli custody, initially tried to shield them from view with large white screens. Israeli broadcasters didn't air the images. What the flip, dude? They ought to, why don't they, like, I don't understand why they don't, like, drop a bomb on these people when they're doing this, like, like, obviously it would be a violation of the ceasefire, but, like, dude, they're all right there, just, like, drop a bomb on them right now. Like, I don't get that. Why don't they ever do that? Probably because it wouldn't be worth it in the long run. Amid the crowds were some Palestinians recently released by Israel, who, according, were supposed to be exiled from Gaza. Those spotted in the crowds included Mohammed Abu Warda, who was sentenced for planning a 96 bus bombing that killed 40 Israelis. Those returning to Israel are dead. For the first time since the start of the ceasefire, those returning to Israel are dead. Hamas said they included 3 members of a family whose capture became symbolic. Behind a stage set up in the southern Gaza city of Khan Yunis, a banner showed Netanyahu likened to a vampire with blood dripping down his chin, blaming him for their deaths. In the early days of the war, Hamas said Shiri, Bibas, and the children had been killed by an Israeli airstrike. Israel never officially confirmed their deaths or addressed the possibility that they were killed by an airstrike. Yeah, BS. In its statement hours after the handover of the coffins, the Israeli military said that it had informed the Bibas family that Ali and Kfir had been identified, and said that an assessment had determined that they were killed in captivity in November of 2023. The military said another body received didn't belong to Shiri Bibas and that it didn't match any other hostage. It said Hamas was required under the ceasefire deal to return 4 dead hostages. We demand that Hamas return Shiri home along with all our hostages. A Hamas spokesman didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. The family of Oded Lifshitz, who was 83 at the time of his capture, confirmed his body was identified among those returned. Lifshitz died in captivity more than a year ago. Wait, what? They're returning a dead body that died a year ago? Like, how is it not rotted out? Like, I don't get what is going on here. I can't think of another place besides Palestine that would flaunt and celebrate over the coffin of a child. Oh, I know, Altair. Seriously. Good night, man. Deathblow, what's up? True. Counter-Strike. He and his wife, both peace activists, were taken from the kibbutz near the Gaza border. His wife, who was 85, was released after 17 days in captivity along with 3 other women. Her family says she was released because she was sick and the militants were worried the illness would spread to others in the tunnels. I guess she got lucky by being sick. It isn't over today. It will be over when everyone is back. In exchange for the bodies, Israel released a group of Palestinian prisoners. Hamas has agreed to free another 6 living hostages on Saturday as the first phase of the ceasefire nears its end. An Israeli military rabbi held a short ceremony after the bodies were handed over. Troops fired ceremonial shots into the air and a convoy took the bodies across the border. The makeshift hostage square in Tel Aviv, where people have gathered each week to watch captives being freed, was filled with Israeli flags Thursday that flooded in the early morning rain. Once the weather cleared, a crowd of family, friends, and supporters cried and embraced each other in silence as they watched a tribute video to the hostages on a large screen set up in the center of the square. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. These Hamas terrorists needs to be wiped out. Trump needs to go in.
I don't know, back and forth in the press, but we're full speed ahead to get the president's team in place so we can implement his America First policy.
Thank you. Mike has spoken pretty extensively. Does anybody have questions for Stephen or for Mr. Hassett? Nobody wants to talk about the economy? Sure. IRS? Okay, go ahead.
This would be for either one of you. So we reported, several other outlets have reported that about 3,500 people are due to be lose their jobs at the IRS by the end of the week. Mm-hmm. If the goal of these spending cuts across the federal government has been to reduce the debt, why impose some of the deepest cuts we've seen so far at the agency responsible for raising revenue for the federal government?
Well, I think our objective is to make sure that the employees that we pay are being productive and effective. And there are many, many more than 100,000 people working to collect taxes, and not all of them are fully occupied. And the Treasury Secretary is studying the matter and feels like 3,500 is a small number, and probably can get bigger, especially as we improve the IT at the IRS. And so I think that it's absolutely something that is on the table for good reasons. And the point is,
ABG, what's up, ABG?
The IRS, talk about all of government. That there are so many places. I live in DC. You maybe live in.
Hey, there's a good heist. That was a good heist. That was a really good heist. Let's see where we're at in the election. Eric, still number one at 2.3 million. Prola, almost 6 million. Ooh. Fighter killer. Everybody's doing pretty well.
In DC, where nobody's going to the buildings. People aren't commuting because nobody's doing their job. We look back and we see that there are all these people doing 2 jobs while they're getting a government payroll on the payroll. So the point is, we're fixing that, and the IRS is a small part of that picture.
So you're saying that everybody who's being let go was doing a bad job?
I'm saying that we're studying every agency and deciding who to let go and why. And we're doing so very rationally with a lot of support from analysis.
Because we're being told by a lot of people who have been let go at other agencies that they were told they were being dismissed because of poor performance, when in some cases they haven't even had a performance review yet because they've only been on the job a couple of months.
Yeah, I've never seen a person who was laid off for poor performance say that they were performing poorly. Okay.
Good point. Sure, Caitlin.
I have a question. I'll start with you, Kevin Hassett. Thank you for being here. And then I've got a question for Mr. Waltz. On these potential checks that you might send out from Doge, is there a concern as you're thinking through this that they could be inflationary?
Oh, absolutely not. Because imagine if we don't spend government money and we give it back to people, then if they spend it all, then you're even. But they're probably going to save a lot of it, in which case you're reducing inflation. Okay, so and also, when the government spends a lot, that's what creates inflation. We learned that from Joe Biden. And so if we reduce government spending, then that's reduces inflation. And if you give people money, then they're going to save a bunch of it. And when they save it, then that also reduces demand and reduces inflation.
Okay, so you're not worried about it. And
No, I'm
Mr.
not.
Waltz, to follow up on Peter's question, you wrote in an op-ed in the fall of 2023 that, quote, Putin is to blame, certainly like Al-Qaeda was to blame for 9/11. Do you still feel that way now, or do you share the president's assessment as he says Ukraine is to blame for the start of this war?
Well, it shouldn't surprise you that I share the president's assessment on all kinds of issues. What I wrote as a member of Congress was as a former member of Congress. Look, what I share the president's assessment on is that the war has to end. And what comes with that? What comes with that should be at some point election.
That's so funny. Like, we were all talking about how, like, this guy's like the least that we want to listen to. He's the least entertaining, but yet the press wants to ask him all these questions because he's the foreign policy guy, and that's really obviously the most important thing in the White House.
So what comes with that should be peace. What comes with that is prosperity that we've just offered in this natural resources and economic partnership arrangement, an end to the killing, and European security and security for the world. The president's not only determined to do that in Europe, he's determined to do it in the Middle East. And just a few months ago, we had an administration that had tried for 15 months, week after week, sitting with you here and couldn't get us to a ceasefire, couldn't get our hostages out. Now we're at that point. We're back to maximum pressure on Iran, and we have just begun, and we will drive towards a ceasefire and all of those other steps. I'm not going to pre-negotiate or get ahead of the sequencing of all of that. It's a very delicate situation, but this is a president of peace, and who here would argue against peace?
Okay, so you do share that assessment. And can I follow up? In 2017,
go ahead,
then
Jordan.
President Trump.
Go ahead,
Can I just
Jordan.
follow up really
You just
quickly?
had 2 questions, Caitlin.
Can I
Jordan,
just-
go ahead.
I have an important follow-up.
Jordan, go ahead.
So,
Go ahead.
Mr. Hassett, you were speaking about.
Boom! Caitlin Collins shut down, and she really wanted to get a follow-up in there. Wow.
The tariff revenue, and you also addressed a question about the IRS. President Trump has spoken about replacing income tax with tariff revenue, especially with all this waste, fraud, and abuse that we're seeing cut. Is that a possibility?
Absolutely. And in fact, if you think about the China tariff revenue that we're
I'm down for that.
coming in from the 10% that we just added, plus the de minimis thing, that it's between $500 billion and $1 trillion over 10 years is our estimate. And that's something that is outside of the reductions that markets are seeing through the negotiations up on the Hill. And so we expect that the tariff revenue is actually going to make it much easier for Republicans to pass a bill. And that was the president's plan all along.
And I have a question for Stephen Miller about DOGE. So you spoke about DOGE. You said roughly $50 billion is set to be cut in a year of waste, fraud, and abuse by unelected bureaucrats. We're hearing this ironic narrative from the president's critics and the left-wing media that Elon Musk is an unelected bureaucrat and he's doing all this terrible stuff. Isn't one of DOGE's objectives to get rid of the federal bureaucracy, the deep state, and also who was running the White House when Joe Biden was in office? Because I don't know a single person who believes it was Joe Biden.
Yes, you're tempting me to say the very harsh things about some of our media friends. Yes, it is true that many of the people in this room for 4 years failed to cover the fact that Joe Biden was mentally incompetent and was not running the country. It is also true that many people in this room who have used this talking point that Elon is not elected fail to understand how government works. So I'm glad for the opportunity for a brief civics lesson. A president is elected by the whole American people. He's the only official in the entire government that is elected by the entire nation, right? Judges are appointed, members of Congress are elected at the district or state level, which is one man. And the Constitution, Article 2, has a clause known as the vesting clause, and it says the executive power shall be vested in a president, singular. The whole will of democracy is imbued into the elected president. That president then appoints staff to then impose that democratic will onto the government. The threat to democracy, indeed the existential threat to democracy, is the unelected bureaucracy of lifetime tenured civil servants who believe they answer to no one, who believe they can do whatever they want without consequence, who believe they can set their own agenda no matter what Americans vote for. So Americans vote for radical FBI reform, and FBI agents say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote for radical reform on our energy policies, but EPA bureaucrats say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote to end DEI, racist DEI policies, and lawyers in the Department of Justice say they don't want to change. What President Trump is doing is he is removing federal bureaucrats who are defying democracy by failing to implement his lawful orders, which are the will of the whole American people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. I'm looking at the clock. We've almost had an hour of time. I know a couple of these individuals have a meeting to get to at 2 p.m. So you're welcome to follow up with my team for further questions. We're going to let these guys get back to running the United States government. And we will see you all later. President Trump will be speaking at 3 o'clock at the Black History Month reception. So thank you. It's good to see you. We'll see you in a bit.
All right, so we are going to be doing our podcast live, so I'm going to give you guys a countdown. You guys are going to be in the podcast with us. I'm going to say we're from CPAC. I want you guys to be as loud as you possibly can. Are you ready? All right, here we go. Welcome, it is Verdict with Ted Cruz, live from CPAC 2025. Senator, I like this being our annual time to hang out with fun people.
Well, it is great to be back with CPAC, and I got to say, CPAC this year, there is energy, there's excitement. It turns out winning doesn't suck.
It does not.
And we have a guest. We have the Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi.
Me to be on their podcast. They finally did, and I get to do it in front of all of you. So this is awesome.
Well, Pam, I will tell you that there is some good karma to being on this podcast at CPAC, because the last guest we had at CPAC was someone named J.D. Vance, and he's done all right for himself.
Yeah. He's a great man.
So, welcome.
Thank you.
You have been Attorney General 15 days.
It feels like 15 years.
I believe you. And by the way, you just got some help. An hour ago, the Senate just finished confirming.
Yes, isn't that great? Been on the phone with him nonstop.
I talked to him on the ride over here. He is going to do fantastic.
There is.
All right, let's start. 15 days. You've come into what I think is the single most important cabinet position in this administration. Because we went through 4 years of Biden weaponizing the Department of Justice, using it to attack his enemies and to support his friends. So let me ask you, you come into DOJ, you've got a mission. You've got a mission to restore integrity to the department, to end the weaponization and politicization. How do you do that? How do you get that done?
You know, the volume, Senator, what concerned me the most, it's the volume of how bad it was. And it still is. We're working on it. It's day by day by day. But we've got a team of great people. And on day one, I issued 14 executive orders. And number one is the weaponization ends, and it ends now. And that's what we did.
Let me ask you something. In the 15 days you've been there, how many DOJ employees have said something to the effect of, thank God?
A lot of them.
I believe you. Look, I spent 4 years hearing from AUSAs, assistant U.S. attorneys, hearing from FBI agents, hearing from men and women who believe in the rule of law and were horrified at the politicization of the FBI and the DOJ. And so I know for a lot of good, honorable men and women who've devoted their careers to defending the Constitution, there's a lot of gratitude that they can get back to doing their job.
Their core function, and that's thanks to Donald J. Trump getting back in office. And he gave us a clear directive, make America safe. And that's what we're going to do. And, you know, to start with the law enforcement agencies talking about cash, these men and women didn't go to Quantico. They're not risking their lives to waste their time on all this politicization and raiding Mar-a-Lago. Really? Stopping. All of that is stopping. And we are returning them to their core function, fighting violent crime. And that's what the great majority of men and women in law enforcement, DEA, ATF, U.S. Marshals, FBI, as well as the incredible legal team at the Justice Department, that's what they want to do.
So let's talk about one of the most lawless aspects of the last 4 years, which was the open borders that we saw and the 12 million illegal immigrants that have come into this country. You've had just 2 weeks, but you've hit the ground running, going after the criminals, going after the murderers, going after the rapists, going after the child molesters, going after the Venezuelan gang members. Tell us, number one, what you're doing as Attorney General that is making a real difference, that is already making America safer. And number two, I understand you have some breaking news concerning my home state of Texas, which I'm particularly proud to hear.
I do. And the press release isn't even out yet. Joint Task Force Alpha that we elevated once we came in office. It's with the Department of Justice and the FBI, and we work hand in hand with Homeland Security. Kristi Noem is awesome.
Yep.
We all work so well together. Joint Task Force Alpha just made a huge arrest in Juarez, Mexico. They were headed to Texas, to El Paso, human smuggling. Yeah, huge. That's why we do what we do every day. That's why these agents risk their lives every single day. It's human smuggling, and a lot of children, they're saying, are safer because of this.
Let me ask you a question. President Trump, and this has made headlines on what you were just talking about, we've designated these cartels as terrorist organizations. What does that allow you to do in your job? And Kash Patel now is the head of the FBI. What is that going to give you the ability to do and to go after them?
Well, Stephen Miller is doing a great job, head of, as we are, right? Leading this effort with all of us, Mike Waltz at DOD. We all work so, Pete Hegseth, we all work so well together. And it gives us the ability, they are a terrorist group. And it gives us the ability to go after them, more ability, anywhere in the world, and treat them as terrorists. They are terrorists. If you're bringing fentanyl into this country and killing our kids, you're a terrorist, and we're coming after you.
300 a day is the average that are dying in this country right now. When you took this job and you hear that number, and you saw the inaction from the last administration. How angry did that make you?
So angry. You know, I was state AG before I became United States Attorney General, and fentanyl was really just coming on the market. And now with this horrible open border policy, just flowing across our borders and killing kids, killing adults every single day. And it's criminal that no one was doing anything to stop it. I can't comprehend how any administration, progressive nor conservative, how any administration could tolerate that and let that happen. And it ended day one with Donald Trump when he shut that border. I was at the border back in September. I went with Laura Trump and Morgan Ortega.
Yep.
And we were in Yuma, Arizona. And I saw firsthand, there is nothing humanitarian that was happening at that border. Nothing. They have a rape tree where they're raping women as they're coming into this country. I saw firsthand piles and piles of passports just thrown from every country you can imagine, because the Biden administration was letting you walk right in the country. If you didn't have a passport, they said they saw Asian, Chinese individuals saying, oh, we're from Cuba. So they wrote down they're from Cuba and had to let them legally walk right in under that administration. But the drugs, the trafficking, I learned a new term, disposable child. The customs, the Border Patrol agents told me that they saw a little boy and they kept recognizing the same little boy over and over and over coming in. Because if you came into our country as a family unit, they just let you walk right in. Yep. Well, this little child was being trafficked.
Yes.
Now, how they were getting him back to Mexico is beyond me. But they were bringing him time and time again. He wasn't their family, so who knows what happened to him.
That is absolutely terrible. That is, I feel so bad for that little boy. Holy cow. I like Pam Bondi. I think she's going to do a good job as AG. Holy buzzwords. America voted. Reindeer Gamer. Goonsby. What's up, guys? Y'all ready for this? Oh, there's something like... I've got something in my sinus and it's really bugging me. But my my electricity bill is outrageous. Come on, come on. Longtime Billings police chief Rich St. John was one of an estimated 800,000 Americans who had a heart attack last year. It's the day he remembers well, not just because it happened to be his birthday. I had no idea that I had an issue until I had an issue.
Let's roll.
Ours has like tripled in the last few years and we're using less now than then. Yeah, it sucks. Some BS. We need cheaper energy in this country. We need dirt cheap energy.
Let's roll.
I got this wow skin from Olay Body Wash. Its new super serum sinks into my skin with 5 powerful ingredients. 5 benefits in one. Look at this Olay difference. So luminous. Olay Super Serum Body Wash.
Well, February.
I'm going on a windy walk here.
Well, I need to start winning matches here. Otherwise, my nuke is gonna fall below 5,000. I just spent 10 minutes trying to find the fan fiction I got Bastia to read of him and you. Didn't find it except the old BNN meme website. I at least know that it was heavily inspired by Hogwarts School of Prayer and Miracles, basically a Harry Potter fanfic Ricka, with your character using a Chad. Manly savior, beard included. I gotta check that out here. I gotta check that out. That's unfortunate, man. You know what I'd really like to see, Lord Venture?
One's on top.
You know what I really like to see, Lord Venture? I'd like to see the video of Bastia reading it and react and see how what he looked like.
Counter-terrorists. There's no stopping us.
Oh. Man, I haven't seen Eric Carstensen in so long. Where's he been? I wonder if just because I'm streaming in only evening hours. Again, because I'm back like full-time office work pretty much lately.
We are out of here.
One outside. 2 outside.
Red box.
One lobby.
Two red box.
Bomb's going secret. He's tagged.
Are you freaking kidding me? Are you guys serious? How'd you guys die? True, Altair, true. He's retired. Doesn't need to come to the stream anymore. True, true. Oh, I gotta stop being mean to my teammates on this game. Save, 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 save.
Terrorists win.
Guys, you guys want a 5-man rush outside?
Sure.
All right, let me click on that. Let me click on that, Lord Venture.
Let's do it.
Remove any doubts in your head. It's us or them.
All right, I got it. I saved it.
Deploying flashbang.
chance there. I had a chance there.
Terrorists win.
Nice, Lord Venture. You're able to remember this much of it. That's awesome. You're able to kind of recreate it. The line that was paraphrased to describe you. On the porch was standing a huge muscular man with a big manly beard, and he was dressed in a plaid red shirt, blue jeans, and sturdy leather boots. His chest was covered in a thick, unruly carpet, coarse brown hair. He wore a necklace that looked to Harry like a lowercase t. Just looking at it made Harry feel happy, peaceful somehow, but he couldn't say why. Oh, that's fantastic, man. That's hilarious. That's great.
Ruined the sequel.
Oh!
Terrorists win.
All right, boys. Let's go for the win this time.
Roger.
Gotta pull it out. Gotta pull it out right here. Pull something crazy. Play smart. Play smart. Play back. Play back. Game is tied 2-2 going into overtime. Nice, TLS. Keep us updated. TLS, keep us updated. I'm curious how it turns out. How did he survive that?
To your left, yellow. Right there, in garage.
Counter-terrorists got in. Good one.
About time.
Roger that.
Let's go. Is right. We needed that one.
Grab your gear, let's go.
Uh-oh, we're playing against the no rank that's top fragging. That's not good.
Secret.
Incendiary.
One outside. Mini.
Oh! Ho, ho. Dang it.
One on A. Yep.
Bomb has been planted. I'm defusing the bomb.
Outside mini.
Wonderful.
Bomb has been defused. Counter-terrorists win. Now we're really
That was good. That was good. Unfortunately, I died. I did get a kill, though. I did get a kill that round, as you can see right here. See? I did get a kill right here. I'm still second fragging. I'm 5-4 on my team. I kind of want to play B-site this round just to be smart about this. See if I hear him running. Nope. Nobody ramp.
Still outside.
Counter-terrorist win. You're champion.
Got the defuse, boys. Got the defuse. Got the defuse, boys. Got the defuse. Oh, I'll take that. Thank you. Now I can buy util and a kit.
Remember, this is bandit country. Shoot everything that moves. Throwing fire. Grenade out. Throwing smoke. Throwing fire. Grenade out.
They just chill in the lobby.
Yeah.
Do we have people A?
One's out A.
Is anybody watching A?
I'm on.
One was vending. Bomb down.
Nice.
Counter-terrorists win. Kidding me? Way to go.
There was. Yeah, that swing round.
The gun. You all good?
That's copy. Move it, son.
I'm gonna keep playing B because we've been winning with me going this way.
Outside. One roof.
Throwing smoke. Fire in the hole.
Red box.
Out A.
Dude, did I just ace clutch and defuse? Ace, baby.
All
kitchen because I was
Dude.
like, oh, get ready for next round.
Dude, the ace diffuse. Wow, man, that was pretty tasty. That was pretty tasty. Thank you, guys. Yeah, look at that. Now I'm 11 and 5.
Deploying flashbang. Smoke. Throwing fire. Throwing grenade. Smoke.
Come on.
Nice, nice, nice. Where are they?
Squeaky.
Planning A, planning A, planning A, planning upper. Frick. Oh, it's the 1v2. It's the 1v2 retake.
Last one was by Hut.
Throwing smoke.
That's silly.
Counter-terrorists win. What in the clear, lads?
Dude, that's 2 rounds in a row.
Yeah.
The best of the best.
Yeah, 13 and 5 now. 13 and 5 now.
Go, go, go.
Clutched it again. Thank you, Scooby. A.K.A. Shot to die.
Incendiary. Throwing fire. Grenade out. Throwing fire.
Sorry, Jamesine.
Grenade out. Throwing a grenade.
Planning.
Bomb has been planted. Laying down.
Good guy, Heaven.
Oh! Bomb is in smoke. Bomb is in smoke to defuse.
Defusing the bomb. Terrorists win.
Oh, good try. Good try. Good try.
Almost.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
These fellas are gonna regret waking up this
You know what you
morning.
need to add to an ace plus diffuse is a Zeus kill too.
Oh, for sure. Got him.
One's in hut maybe?
Throwing flashbang.
Bombs A.
On it.
Bomb has been planted.
Rest might be mini. Oh.
Laying down smoke. Terrorists win.
Dude, the same thing. What the heck? That was crazy, man. That was a crazy half. What'd you say? Secret to be?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know why that guy's voice is so quiet, but. Wow. I just had my head taken off.
One heaven, one city.
Focus on heart disease, the leading cause of death for both men and women in the United States, responsible for 1 out of every 5 deaths.
Double door.
And often, people have no risk until something catastrophic, like a heart attack or a stroke happens. That was the case for Billings longtime police chief Rich St. John, who suffered a heart attack last summer. We're hearing from him for the first time about that experience.
July 7th is a day that Billings Police Chief Rich St. John will never forget, and not just because it's his birthday.
Brutal, man. Brutal. We lost.
I had no idea I had an issue until I had an issue.
The chief had been headed to Red Lodge with his wife when his life took a sudden turn. He experienced what felt like significant cramps in his upper chest.
And I think everybody can relate with, you know, aches and pains and a twinge here and there. And I knew that, you know, something else was going on there.
Something as serious as a heart attack.
First heart attacks or last heart attack because they ignore size. And I was fortunate enough to be able to, you know, to get to help relatively quickly.
Chief St. John would undergo double bypass heart surgery. It's something this 44-year-old law enforcement veteran and former Rocky Mountain College football player never thought would happen to him.
It took a little while to get over that.
Oh, man.
I mean, and still, it's like, you know, that happens to other people, not to me, because up until that point, I had no issues.
But it happens to more than 800,000 Americans every year. Every 40 seconds, someone has a heart attack. The main risk factors include high blood pressure, high cholesterol, smoking, obesity, and being overweight, and a lack of physical activity.
You know, this one.
Dang, man. I have a lot of those risk factors in my life. Jeez. Overweight, lack of physical activity. I don't know why I just saved, but
Counter-terrorists win.
That's fresh.
try to throw them off their game here. I wanted to run that round out just to throw them off their game and call timeout. Let's call a couple more just to kind of throw these guys for a loop here. My guy's like, sure. They're in chat. All my teammates in chat. Sure. Hopefully, like, one of them will like, oh, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick or something, you know. I literally told my team here, let's call timeouts just to F with them, and they're like, sure. All right, that's plenty. All right, where did you want to go? You wanted to rush ramp, did you say, or what did you?
Did anyone say anything?
I don't know. I'd say we do an A-pop, if anything, here.
Okay.
You guys down for an A-pop? I think it was James Dean.
Oh, we're good. Hold one anyways.
Oh! I needed more help.
One's ramp.
Good plant. We're really only in this because of my like wild like clutch diffuses and stuff. Dang, Canada won. No way, Zacchaeus. No way. No. Canada won. No. What? Time to up the tariffs. Yes. Are you serious right now? Dude, what?
Terrorists win.
Yeah, great job. Yo, K-Day, great job. Yes, way. Thank you, Riding Fence. Thank you so much, Riding Fence. I needed that. I needed that. I needed that. It was intense. Oh, I'm sure it was.
You want to go ramp? Is that safe?
Felt like anyone's game in overtime.
Yeah.
Cool.
Throwing fire.
Gonna say, I was like, I thought I heard one.
Great plant, great plant. Canada's goalie was clutch. Really? Dude, that gun sucks. What? How, dude? How?
Yes.
No. Are you serious?
We're good.
Terrorists win.
Diffusing is gay. What? You blind assholes. What? Oh man, let's play smart here. Let's play smart. They're gonna do something stupid.
Yeah, they're gonna lose it. They're gonna get wild and start rushing.
Yeah, I think so.
Just hang lobby. Heaven. ramp.
I'm on ring.
I love you.
Terrorists win.
I fear no man. I throw the flashback.
Canada won. TLS, you're happy? TLS, you're happy? Oh, you're Canadian. Oh, I forgot.
One top mid.
What the frick? Dude, how did somebody shoot me in the back of the head right there? Oh, they must have pushed up. And I didn't check my corner there. Wow.
Ramp's clear.
Medical instance
Is also clear.
at the catastrophic end could have been fatal. But on the other end, it's like, I'm getting a message here
He's like,
that,
clear.
you know, let's
Okay,
watch
I'm
our
coming back,
diet.
sorry.
Let's make sure we continue to exercise. We can always stand to lose a few pounds. So
After about 2 months at home recovering, the chief was cleared to return to work with no restrictions. He says another thing that stands out from the experience is the support shown to him and his family afterwards.
it was so humbling and so appreciated. I can't even explain it to you.
A close call, but a happy outcome.
It's a wake-up call on how truly mortal you are.
The chief was very fortunate that he was able to get to the hospital quickly. Signs of a heart
Blue, you
attack
got
can
it?
often include chest pain, shortness of breath, nausea, and dizziness.
No way.
Blue, you want a gun?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Let's go outside. Everybody get smoke. Smoke outside, smoke outside, smoke outside, and then we'll go secret. Oh, thank you, thank you.
Two's been pushing outside the whole time.
Oh, wow.
I'm planted. Bomb has been planted. Throwing fire.
Damn it. Coming in mini. Nice try.
I got Girl Scout cookies. Samosas.
Counter-terrorists win.
Or Samoas.
Let's go, Ram. Maybe we can try 8.
Sure. What'd you say? Go on, eh?
Now is the time. I've thrown a grenade. Activating the bomb.
Is that ramp to heaven, maybe?
Smoke.
Heaven.
Terrorists win. You think you can kill us?
Right, Scooby. Right, Scooby. I was like, okay, I guess I just died because my teammates stopped right in the door.
Amazing.
Remember the Titan speech? I love that.
Ramp?
Yes.
Together we can do this.
Just full push ramp.
Yeah.
Smoke. Throw a smoke. Molotov. Smoke. Fire in the hole. I planted the bomb.
Watch ramp.
Bomb has been planted.
Uh-oh. 3v4, 3v4.
On his planet close to ramp.
Oh. Oh, dang it. I got one. No, I needed to get at least 2, though.
Yikes.
Counter-terrorists win.
Alter.
We must win. Smoke.
One was that, eh?
Wasn't paying attention.
It's clear.
Where's the bomb?
Counter-terrorists win.
So stupid. I should just save it.
Let's go, my brother. Affirmative. Sounds good.
One up. Brick.
Goodbye.
You get down, you get down. Ah, dang it. One behind, one behind.
Counter-terrorists win.
Rick, man, it's coming down to this. We've been playing for 45 minutes almost. Attack Lizard, what up? Oh, frick, dude. Reversing U.S. policy, Trump attacks Zelensky, blames Ukraine for war with Russia. Shortly after RFK Jr. was sworn in as Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services, Trump issued an executive order calling for a team to study the use of antidepressants, antipsychotics, and obesity medications in children, claiming these medications may cause a threat to adolescents. That's great.
And all your money.
Or overtime.
Well, yeah.
Let's win this thing. Let's win this thing.
Last round.
Move it.
Oh my. It's B.
Bomb is by a ramp.
Counter-terrorists win. No more talking. Now we
Let's go ramp.
Yes. We must move.
There's one red box.
Grenade out. I'm throwing fire.
Why? Why?
Mini. God damn. It's everywhere.
Here, let's go vents. Should we go vents?
Sure, let's try it.
Here, pass the bomb up front, please.
You want it?
You're good. If you want it, you can go for it.
Move it.
You want a nade?
I'll nade it and then molly it.
Okay, I'll smoke.
Grenade.
Acho que é essa área.
Oh! Another one ramp.
Ramp.
Dude, these guys are insane. What's going on? All right, gotta win this one.
How do they get that?
I don't know, man. I think we should go outside. Should we smoke outside and go outside?
Sure, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Dude, this is nuts, man.
We're spinning a Gav outside every time.
Get ready.
Let's just wait him out then. Let's just wait him out. Let's just wait until like 45 seconds left and then smoke outside.
Until they're util.
Throwing smoke. Throwing smoke. I'm throwing a flashbang.
One outside, one garage.
There's an auto
both out there.
garage.
Yep, they're both out there. Go plant. Whoever's got it. There you go. Yeah, go plant somewhere. Is that still garage?
Yeah, he has auto.
Activating the bomb. Bomb has been planted. Smoke. Terrorists win. We will stop your little scout.
Nice. We got it.
Let's have a lunch.
Oh, here we go. Back on CT. Do or die.
Go.
Gonna go with the B plate. It worked for me.
Incendiary out. Grenade.
Secret. One got through.
Nice, 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 nice. We got our opera with a kill. Uh-oh, shit.
That bomb.
Throwing smoke.
Bomb down B, bomb down B.
One control room.
Let's tie this thing. F it.
Roger that.
Yeah.
For Queen and Country, man. Throwing flashbang.
Bomb down Squeaky.
Incendiary out.
2000. Oh my God, coming in. That guy got down, I think. Yep.
Bomb has been planted.
You got this.
Incendiary. Defusing the bomb. Terrorists win.
Frick. That's brutal, man. All right, I guess we'll wait for this heist to be over, but no, I'm gonna call it, guys. I'm tired. Frick, man. 10 o'clock too. There it is. See you guys.